welcome in. Today we are welcome to Couch Sessions with Lutti, episode 2. Today we are having our wonderful GaryLucasMusic, who is in chat here, and he has gracefully agreed to be in chat. And yes, I do not have a couch yet. I know some people may ask. No, I do not have a couch yet. It is a project, okay? It is coming soon, hopefully. But for now, we just have to make do with what we have. Yes! Oh my god, Penny! Yes! Please go fetch Penny. So yeah, today we're gonna welcome Gary Lucas on the stream. So we're gonna have Gary over here. We're gonna chat a little bit about Gary's music journey. We're gonna chat about his inspirations for his music, like the one you're hearing right now. And we have questions also for Gary. Some of you have submitted questions for Gary, and we're gonna have a little Q&A session at the end where you can answer questions. If you still want to ask questions to Gary, submit questions for Gary. We have a little form. You can still submit questions. It's !QA, and you can submit any question you want for Gary. Of course, no doxing and no privacy stuff. But if you have as I was saying in previous streams, if you have this burning question you've been wanting to ask Gary about for it's been 4 years, right? You've had this one question you've been dying to ask Gary for 4 years. Now is the time to do that, right? Also, Tamsy, how you doing? It's nice to see you. Daddy, how you doing as well? Yes, burning questions. If anyone has has been following Gary and you're I've always wanted to ask Gary this specific question, but I've never had the chance or the opportunity to do so, now is the time. Why the 16-digit number on front of your credit card? It's Penny. Penny is the answer. Actually, Gary might not know that answer because isn't Penny the one managing Gary's finances? Isn't that right? Penny rules all, right? Right? A penny for your thoughts. Hey, a penny for your thoughts. I'm not familiar with Gary, but I'm open to learning about him. Yeah, so this the one of the things for this stream is so Gary is a streamer. He's not only a big streamer on Twitch, but he's also a singer-songwriter. He's written all of the originals that you're hearing in the background, and he's also a self-taught independent musician. So we're gonna get to know Gary better today, or discover Gary if you don't know Gary yet, and we'll talk about Gary, his music journey, Twitch as well, his inspirations for his music. Maybe Gary will play 1 or 2 tunes, and then we can just hang out. Let's just hang out with Gary, for a couple hours. Also, Gary is the first ever guest. Not only in the couch sessions with Lutti, right? He's the first ever guest on this session, but he's also the first collab ever on this stream. We've done some multiplayer, stuff with gaming and all, but he is the very first actual collab on the stream. So yay. So thank you, Gary, for, accepting to do this. And we're going to show you how amazing Gary is. How are you doing, Gary?
I'm doing really well. Thank you very much for having me. This is very exciting. Such a privilege.
It is so nice to have you here. And also, as I said, it's the first time that we have a guest over on the stream, but also for this mini series we're doing. And thank you for accepting to be here.
Thank you very much for having me. I think it's a great idea. I look forward to seeing who else you interview in the future.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I have a couple people already, ideas, but it's gonna be fun to have different people with different styles and different ideas, and it doesn't have to be just music. It can also be other creative arts, right? Mm-hmm. But it's gonna be fun to see.
And I also don't have a couch, but I do have very cozy.
That's true.
Very cozy in this chair. I'm sat in a slightly different position. I normally stream on that side of the room where the piano is, and I sit on a stool to encourage me to sort of sit up because my
That's a
posture's
good idea. Yeah.
But today I just thought, no, I'm going to have my desk and my keyboard right in front of me, and I can look things up, and I can lean back and
That's
have
nice.
tea and everything. So,
But yeah, thanks for being here. Would you like to introduce yourself? If ever people in the chat know you or even don't know you, would you like to present yourself?
sure. So I'm Gary. When I first joined Twitch 4 years ago, my name was Gary B. Lucas, which is the name that you can find me under on like Spotify and YouTube, like my artist name. But people started calling me Gary Blucas when I raided them. Because they couldn't decipher what was going on. And I understand. There was a capital B and a capital L. It was confusing. And I was jealous of all the people that had music in their name. I was like, oh, it just says it on the tin.
That's true.
I want music in my name. That's fun.
That's true.
So on Twitch, I became GaryLucasMusic, something like 2 years ago.
Right.
So yeah, I've been streaming on Twitch for 4 years.
That's amazing.
And I've been writing songs since I was about 15.
That's amazing.
Which is a really long time now because I'm nearly turning 37 soon.
Wow, that's amazing. Also, yeah, isn't your birthday approaching, right?
Coming up in January.
Yeah, in January, right? So, and you're having also a 4-year anniversary coming up also on Saturday, right?
Saturday is going to be the 4-year stream, which I'm very excited about. There's a couple of fun things planned. And I can't wait. Yes, one of the things is that Seashell Wizard has made these compilation videos, which she did last year as well, and she always does such an incredible job. I can't wait to see what she's done this year. So very grateful to her, and I've got a little thank you something prepared for her that I think she will at least laugh at on Saturday as well.
That's amazing. Yeah, we will show the clip later for people. But yeah, if people in the chat are not following Gary yet, and you're new, please go follow Gary. Okay, he's amazing. He's a streamer, as he said, for 4 years. But you're also a singer-songwriter, and you're also. So I read on your bio that you were a self-taught independent musician. I didn't know you were self-taught, actually.
Yeah, I've never had official lessons.
Okay.
But I'm very lucky in that I've got 2 older brothers who both played the guitar and sung.
Right.
And they never gave me any formal lessons. But the brother who's closest in age to me, I was very lucky to sort of just learn from him by watching.
Yeah.
And I remember being about 14 and him shoving a guitar into my hand and saying, "Here are the chords to Wonderwall. I shall thusly pass these down to you, to the next generation." and I remember not being interested. I remember at 13, 14 years old, whenever it was, I remember trying to make the shapes and not being interested. That's
amazing. Is that how you started your music journey? By them playing guitar?
So there's 2 sides that kind of met together because, like I said, around that time, I wasn't interested in learning the guitar. I think when I was 13, I felt very different from my brothers. And I assumed that rock music and guitar stuff was a them thing. And I was floating in this other world. I didn't know what I was, but I just felt like I won't ever be able to be that. It felt like this thing that was too high to achieve. They came across as effortlessly cool to me. And just could pick up the guitar and sing and not care. I was like, I'm really shy and quiet. That seems distant from me. But when I was in primary school, I loved singing in assemblies.
Okay.
We would sing I say I don't know what songs you sing when you're in primary school in France.
Well, actually, when I was in primary school, so I don't know if you know this, but I'm part from Singapore, and so when I was in primary school, I grew up in Singapore actually.
That's cool. I like it.
But I was in a French school, but so we had a lot of I guess American and partly American and British influence, and also partially French influence. So a bit of both worlds, I guess.
I used to just love singing those songs.
Okay.
and I could tell that most people were bored. Like most of my classmates were like, "Can we just please go into the playground? And I'm over this now."
Okay.
And I was just like, "Father, hear the prayer we offer for our Lord on
That's amazing.
I'm not even a religious person, but I just loved singing. I loved the melodies, and our teacher played the piano quite well, and I was really into it. And in year 6, when I was about 10,
Yeah.
11 years old, they ran a choir in our primary school, and you had to audition to get in.
Okay.
And I remember
Yeah.
shaking with nerves in this line and singing, "All things bright and beautiful." And I got in, and I remember thinking, "Oh, maybe I can sing in tune. Like,
Maybe I.
there's something to this. Maybe I." So I definitely loved music before I started playing the guitar.
Okay.
And my eldest sister, I say eldest, my only sister, but she's the eldest of all of us. She loves musicals. She loves pop music, and so she would be playing things on the radio and on CDs. I remember going to see Oliver Twist the musical.
Oh, I love Oliver Twist. Yes, I remember that.
And I remember just loving songs from that. And obviously we watched Disney films like The Lion King and Aladdin, and I remember and Beauty and the Beast, and I remember being really into the songs and like looking forward to when the songs would come on and knowing all of the words. And then when I was a teenager, like I said, my brother tried to get me into playing the guitar and I wasn't interested. But then a year later, I discovered Alanis Morissette.
Oh, yeah,
and I realized that there were guitars in her songs. I then picked up my brother's guitar. I was like, I wonder if any of those Wonderwall chords are in the song Ironic. And I sat there trying to figure it out. And I used some of the Wonderwall chords to play Ironic. Kind of badly, but it sort of worked. And so that's when the plan started to merge.
Yeah. So was Wonderwall like one of your first songs ever you've played on the guitar?
I think it would be lying to say that I learned it and played it, because I think I played it so badly.
Okay.
It was only then a year later that I pressed harder because I cared about wanting to play Ironic. I didn't care about playing Wonderwall enough. I was just like, I give up. Ironic, I was like, I will learn these chords. It's harder.
I mean, Wonderwall for me was actually like hard to play. It's like because there's like the switching is quite fast in Wonderwall actually.
Yeah.
And I think when you're starting, you know, it might not be. It's like it's not as fluid and like you know.
Yeah, all of the chords are using all 4 fingers.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's a lot going on, but I think it's a very appealing song to play first of all. Yeah. It's so recognizable.
Yeah.
And by maintaining those 2 fingers in the same place, there's part of that feels like this is easier than learning a song where every single finger changes every time. So it's an appeal to learning it first for sure. But even with all of those appeals, I wasn't interested enough until I was like, Ironic is the best song in the world. I have to know these chords. Yeah. And I think it was around that time that I discovered Ultimate Guitar or whatever websites were around at the time. I was like, now I should look up what they really are and stop using Wonderwall chords and singing it badly.
Yeah. And then you played Ironic, and that's where it started. It opened everything for you.
It did. That song, I think it changed my life.
that song is pretty it's pretty like straight, like intense, like it's pretty and like there's a lot of like truth in that song, like a lot of, you know, things people can relate to.
I don't know what it was, but what I can tell you is that around that same time that my brother tried to get me to learn Wonderwall, my friends were really into music that I later did go on to like.
Okay.
I just didn't love it at the time, and I could tell that they were really into it, and I could tell that I was just like, yeah, it's good, and I hadn't found my thing yet. But they were listening to Blink-182 and Green Day and Sum 41 and Nickelback. They were really popular at the time.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I would listen to it and I would enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I was at my friend's house, and his older sister was getting ready, and she called out, "Ben, play Ironic." like, play me a song while I'm getting ready. So, we were just sat on the computer, I don't know, playing Sims or something.
Yeah.
And he played Ironic really loudly so that she could hear it from her bedroom. And within the first few seconds, I just stopped. I was mesmerized. It was like a siren call. I was like, this song's going to change my life. I don't know. It was such a powerful feeling. Even just 5 seconds in, I was
That's amazing.
And as soon as the song finished, I said, repeat, please. Play it again. And I kid you not, I think I asked him to play it for me like 7 times in a row. And he was like, are you okay? And I was like, I just have to hear that again.
Yeah, I do the same. For me, it was Avril. Actually,
Really?
I think Avril was my first ever like album. So we're like, I think we're like 7 years apart, I think.
Right.
Yeah, Avril was like my first ever album. Like I think Britney with Toxic, I think was also up there.
Right.
Christina, but Aguilera.
Yep.
But Avril was the first ever album where I just played everything like on a loop. I had like I don't know if you had that, but I had like a Walkman with the CD, you know, and I had in Singapore at the time, to go to school, we had these school buses that came and pick us up, right, and then took us to school, and so we all had our little Walkmans in the bus, you know, with the little CD, like leaflet, right, the like folder,
yes,
and like we had the CD, and I had like I was playing the Avril CD, Let's Go, like over and over and over again, and yes, that's how it started for me. And Green Day was also so I'm probably one of those kids you were talking about who were listening to Green Day.
The thing is, I love Green Day, but there was something very unique about her voice and her lyrics, and I was like, I need to listen to more of her. But Avril's album Let Go was another. If there was a top 10 albums that defined me, that album is in there as well. Jagged Little Pill and Let Go.
But I think it's funny because like so I think I figured. We figured throughout the months that we have like similar tastes with Gary.
Yeah. And
you know, there's a lot of songs that, you know, Gary has. I mean, you have that. I mean, first of all, your originals in Ocean Emotions, I relate to, and we have a lot of like similar styles of songs that we enjoy. I don't know. Maybe it's because we are both INFPs and 4s. Probably, but
good for the Enneagram.
but like you know, Avril's first album. The first album was actually one of the albums. It was the first time I actually had someone who could relate to what I was experiencing. You know, through songs.
Yes,
and that changed everything, right? Because when you you know, I don't know how you grew up, but like I was also I was pretty like I was always different from the others, you know. I was always on my like you know on my own. I was with the black sheep, you know, all the time usually, and so it was the first, and like I always felt a bit like, you know, misunderstood in a way, you know, all the time, and so. Avril, it was the first time where I had someone who were like, wow, she actually understands like how I feel, you know. So yeah, it's amazing.
I find it really interesting to look up what Enneagram and Myers-Briggs types my favorite singers are.
Yeah.
And Avril isn't a 4, according to, you know. No one can actually know apart from the person themselves. So actually meet Avril and get her to take the test, or no one actually knows. But there's a website called Personality Database where people will vote on who what they think. And Avril is down on that one as see if I get the order right. The 3 that she aligns most with are 9, 6, 4.
Yeah.
4 is one of hers. Yeah, so even though she's not a quintessential 4, a lot of her lyrics are very much stuff that we would relate to. Like Anything But Ordinary is the one that stands out for me the most.
Same.
Life has to mean something more. It can't just be this.
And but also like what is funny is that, you know, like, so Anything But Ordinary was like one of my top ones, but I always tend to like the songs that are not always the most heard. So one of my favorite songs from that album is My World. which is a lot of people don't know about because it's not really played much. And that is like, if there was one song that would define me, it would be that one.
I think
My
that
World.
is a quintessential
You know?
INFP song.
Yeah.
Because it's a song about daydreaming.
Yeah, that's yeah.
INFPs
It's
are known
escaping.
for just like,
It's like
it's really nice. So she sat at home, braiding her hair, like bored out of her mind, imagining what will life be like if I go there and I go do this. And
yeah,
so
it's
all about
escaping from your reality, right, and creating this world where everything is great and all.
And the lyrics, like, she says, never wore cover up, always beat the boys up. So she's saying, like, I'm different from the other people around me. I feel like the black sheep. I feel like the
yeah.
So there's all of that in there as well.
That's true.
And like, she was like 15 and 16 when she wrote the lyrics for that album. And I think what I really like about that album is, like, some of the lyrics do come across exactly like a teenager wrote them.
Yeah.
And that's just how it should be, because
yeah,
it's very tempting, I think, sometimes for these like co-writers who were in their 30s and 40s.
Exactly.
Let's use this word actually, and don't say it like that. That sounds a bit immature. I think she kind of fought for herself and was like, I think it should just be this though, because that's how I would say it.
That's true.
And I think that album comes across as very relatable and down to earth, because they kept a lot of her genuine diary writing lyrics as a 15, 16.
Yeah. And I heard actually that she had to actually fight. I mean, not fight, but she had like arguments with her producer at the time, because I think I saw that they wanted her to go in a certain direction, like more pop, I think. And she was like, no, I want this to be rock. I want this to be me. You know, she actually fought for her to have her own sound, you know, in that album. And I think that also played, because I think that album has a very, unique sound to it. It's unique to that album and to her. Yeah. I think if we ask people about Avril, they would have that sound in mind, probably, from, you know, Skater Boy, kind of that type of sound.
She worked with these producers called The Matrix. Have you heard of them?
I don't think so.
So they were a group of songwriters, and they, if you listen to any other song that was also produced by The Matrix in that same 2-year period, they sound so similar. So they also produced the song So Yesterday by Hilary Duff.
Okay.
And if you listen to that and then listen to Complicated, you realize same production. You realize they are almost the same song, even down to the a life's like this, like kind of like talk rapping. I'm so real. Like they do that. You can change your mind if you want it. But even
that's true.
The guitars and the little bubbling synths that are in there, and the combination of how they mix the acoustic guitar with the electric guitars, and it sounds very clean, very crisp. So it can sound like a rock song, but it's very neat and tidy and packaged in this pop format. It's very delicious, and I love that sound. There's also an album by Liz Phair, just her self-titled album. She has a song called Why Can't I? That sounds really similar to Complicated as well.
Yeah, Complicated is a great song. Well, one of my favorites was Losing Grip as well. That's a great one. Unique sound as well, that one.
That was produced by somebody called Cliff Magnus, and he also produced the song Unwanted on that album, you know, the two heavier sort of rocky ones.
Yeah.
And if my memory serves me correctly, he produced for some of the other sort of rockier bands like Green Day and Linkin Park.
Okay.
So that's what brought in that sound as well. I would have to double check my research there, but he worked with some people like that. And then he went on to work with Kelly Clarkson on her song Low.
Oh, I love Kelly.
If you listen to the introduction of Low and then Losing Grip, it's the same guitar.
That's, Ding,
ding, ding, ding, ding. That delay. He uses the same delay on the song Low.
That's amazing. Luke says, ironically, ironic changed everything. How ironic, using Alanis' interpretation of the word.
Alanis uses a great interpretation of the word, the wider general meaning. And it's ironic. There are ironies. I love that.
That's a great song because it's like true, you know? It's like you always have this situation in your life where, like, you know, you want to do something, it's like, oh, ironically, you know, it doesn't work out. Of course this happens or that happens, you know. So yeah, that song is pretty ironic.
I think it's an easy song to take the mickey out of, and like so many comedians have ripped her to pieces for not using the word properly. They're just unfortunate things rather than truly ironic things, which I get, and she even jokes about it herself now. But like, I think if you focus on that, you miss all of the magic that's in the song. There's so many great things. Like the bridge is one of my favorite parts. Just
I forgot what it was.
Life has a funny way. Life is a funny way.
Yeah.
Why can't I remember what?
Life is a funny way
of helping you out when you think everything's gone wrong.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But what I like in that song is that she actually, I think it's like, she, it's one of the rare songs, I think where she like actually calls out or speaks the truth and, calls out on things and on life. And so I think that is what makes also Ironic quite a great song for people, because like it's the truth. Like it's, a lot of people experience that, and
it's slightly less to do with her own like definite like this happened to me, and a bit more like telling stories about what's going on, like an old man 1098. It's like I'm observing this. These are things that I've noticed in life, rather because a lot of her other songs are just I did this and I did that and me my. But that one's a bit more like watching the world and being an observer.
Yeah. Also, Wingy arrived. Hello, Wingy.
Hi, Wingy. How are you doing? Hello. I'm really struggling to read chat.
It's okay. I'm trying to keep up as well. So, sorry if I don't respond right away, chat. But I see your messages. Grip says Grip is also an INFP. I did not know that. Actually, so I did not know that, but I had a feeling. So I met Grip in Harlem in October for the first time. And I had a feeling that you might be. I didn't know you were, but I know. I had a intuition, I guess. But
yay, part of the Enneagram 4 club.
Yay! Actually, it's funny because if you guys don't know what the Enneagram is, it's like basically it's like a personality types. I think Gary would explain it better than me. But basically, it tells you what if you're extrovert, introvert. If you are, what type of person you are, and also how you basically tend to behave and tend to think, about yourself. And so there are two different things. I forgot there's a personality test. I forgot the name of it for INFPs, ENFPs, the types. So it would tell you if you're, extrovert, introvert, like if you are more like an intuitive person, or if you're more like like a logical person, stuff like that. And so a lot of companies actually now like ask you to make those the test to see if you would be a good fit and like what type of like personality you have. I think that that test is quite. It's quite accurate, but like it's not like it's not like one it's not like definite. It's not a definite thing. Like you can evolve, because I was when I did the test first, I was an ENTP actually.
Oh wow!
And now I am more of a INFP, but because I think depending on the environment and how you behave and how you grow up, you can change.
I've heard that people answer the questions differently based on what context they're asked to answer them in. Because if you do it at work,
that's true.
A lot of people have slightly more of a work personality, and they will answer the questions based on what I would do at work. And I can imagine if I was in a workplace that was quite busy and fast paced.
Yeah.
I might feel like I have to answer the question this way, and that might make me come across as more of a thinker than a feeler.
Exactly.
But if you answer the question at home and you're trying to take into account everything in your life, you answer the question slightly differently.
That is true. That is true.
And also, as an example from my one, the final one, the J or the P, so the judging or the perceiving, I'm really close every time I take it. So I'm an INFP, but it's like 51% versus 49%.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So that although when I read the descriptions of the personalities, I still relate more to the INFP. I would relate very much to a lot of the INFJ stuff as well.
That's true. Yeah.
Depends what context we're in, where you catch me.
Yeah, but also I think it's more like of an indication of, you know, the type of like personality, like, you know, how you tend to behave, like feel and behave. But, you know, and that I think that's where the Enneagram is great, because it tells you like where you can you know, because, you know, throughout your life you do healing, you experience, you know, traumas or different things, and that can actually impact and shape, like, you know, how you think and how you feel and behave.
Yes.
And so it's what's good to the Enneagram is kind of it's similar to the personality types. It's just a bit more specific to, like, it gives you like a number depending on like how you behave, like how, like your heart, your head, and what was the third one? I forgot. There's a your gut feeling, yeah. And so basically it tells you how you tend to behave depending on, you know, and basically we ask questions based on situations, and you would ask, okay, like I would tend to behave this way or that way, and then they will give you like a set of numbers, and that will give you like your main personality type, and then they give you like I think they call it wings, right? Like basically the numbers you can tend to head towards if you worked on yourself, for example, and stuff like that. So for me, I'm a 4, but I am, so it's actually perfect, because I'm a 4, but I'm wing 2 and 5, and actually in some tests I'm actually a 2, so it makes a lot of sense, because like sometimes I'm more of a 4 and sometimes I'm more of a 2, and you know, it's like dependent, right?
Yeah, I find it so interesting. So with the wings, you can only be the numbers that are either side of you. So you can only be a 4 wing 3 or a 4 wing 5. You can't be a 4 wing 2. But, so your question is, what is my fundamental number? Am I a 4, an outright 4, or am I an outright 2? And that they can look so similar.
They're very similar.
So have you ever looked at any videos or any websites that describe a 2 and then describe a 4? And
I have.
Wonder I lean towards more overall.
But that's why it's interesting, because when I was so I did a lot of healing this year, but also like I'm a Scorpio, so I'm like you know, naturally more like intense and passionate about things, and so when I was like I think naturally I'm a 4. You know, when I'm like focused on my passions, and like when I'm like, you know, doing things that I love, I'm more of a 4. And when I'm a bit more into like you know, the when I have a bit of a lack in a way, you know, when I feel like I need to do, you know, things, I need to be a certain way, and then when I feel like I'm more confident or more healed, in a, you know, I tend to be more of a 2, be like, okay, you know, more detached and more of a 2. So it depends. It depends really, but yeah, that's why it's like in the middle, I guess. It depends on the
way that I know I'm not a 2 is when I'm just in a normal everyday average mood, I don't do the 2 things, because a 2 wants to help everyone. So like a 2 would want to host dinner parties and do all of the cooking and do all of the cooking.
Exactly.
I am not that. I know that I'm not that. But if I, like Tempsy just said, 4s go to 2 in stress. So when we're feeling stressed, we can
that's
become
true.
like, I need to become that helpful person. I need to get them to love
true.
me by doing kind.
Wait, Tempsy, you're also a 4 wing 5?
But that is not my natural default. If I'm feeling in an average sort of okay mood, I would much rather be by myself writing a song about my emotions, which is 4. Rather than I must host a dinner party and invite everyone over. That is not me.
That is true. Yeah, for me it would be in a different sense, where it would not necessarily hosting things, but we'd be more like, you know, but doing stuff like this, for example, the couch sessions, you know, or like being more like you know, more open towards people, and more like I wouldn't say people pleasing, but be more like you know, there to help, really, you know, in that stage. So yeah, it just depends. But it's interesting. And I didn't know, Temsi, you were so similar also, actually.
This is why Temsi and I got on so well with.
Are you an INFP? You're not an INFP, Temsi, are you?
She is not. She's very close, though. She's an ISFP.
Okay.
And my version of that in my head, and obviously there's so much more to it than that. This is very generalized. My version of what makes her more of an S is that she's crafty. She's good with her hands. So for example, I'll go grab it. Hold on.
Yes, no worries.
So for example, Tempsy made this
That's so cool.
Has a thing of penny wraps. So
that's so cool.
So accurate to the real penny. I mean, look.
That's so good.
And I would have no clue how to do this. No clue.
That's so good.
And
well done, Temsi.
It's a big generalization, but I think S's with their sensing and being good with their hands.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I feel like that's part of it. Whereas I'm more of an N, the intuition, which is I think like flipping between the mashups in my head. It's like it's all in there. I don't have to do anything with my hands, but I've got it all swimming around up here. And I'm like, let's go into this song and use my intuition that way.
But yeah, I mean, like those things are quite like more like of more of like indication more than like a like it's like it's not like something that you have to fit yourself into, but more like inspiration to see where you can tend to work on, what you can work on, or what you tend to how you tend to behave. It's more like a guidance in a way.
Yeah, exactly, because there's a danger of them becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly.
This is what a 4 is, so I'm just going to be dramatic and emotional forever.
Exactly.
Screw you all.
Exactly.
And we haven't used the tool to our advantage.
Exactly.
What there's two things that I like about it, and anything to do with Myers-Briggs or Enneagram, is that you can look at it and you can cut yourself some slack.
Yeah.
In an area where you've been unhealthy, you can go, okay, I understand why I reacted that way. I'm just more inclined. That is my default.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I have to repeat that every single time, but I can look back at the past and go, I understand why I reacted that way, and cut yourself some slack. We all need to cut ourselves more slack. We're all so hard on ourselves.
Yes, we are.
Anything that cuts ourselves some slack, I'm hugely in favor of. And then also to say, okay, so that's my default, and that would be slightly out of my comfort zone, but it would make me more of an integrated whole person. So I can challenge myself to try to be a bit more like that. And then to look at the people around you who are different from you, and instead of being afraid of them, go, oh, they can teach me things.
Yeah.
I need to be more of a thinker than a feeler in this moment, please. I'm stuck in my emotions. Help me think this through. Or I'm really rubbish at making crafty things. Can you help me, Tempsy, please?
Okay, so Tempsy, now I know if we need any creative things, you're the person. But yeah, it's also a good way to see where you can like what you can work on. So like I identify the areas where I tend to behave like that. How can I where does it come from? Like if there's anything in my life that made me feel this, like how create this way of thinking, or if it's just natural, and also how can I work on it so so it's not like, because sometimes I think the Enneagram says it well. It's like sometimes it's good to not be in the extremes of it, and to work so we are not in the extreme of it. Because when you're like unhealed, you can be in a very extreme 4, which is not always a thing.
Yeah, extreme versions of any of the numbers.
Extremes are never.
There's a great website. I think it's the Enneagram Institute that shows you 9 different levels of health.
Yeah.
For each number, so you can, if you're a 4, you can.
That's true.
You can look at like when you're in the worst level of health, you're feeling this and this, like, oh my goodness, that's me on my worst day.
That's true.
And then you can look at what you're like at your very best, like, oh my God, that's what I can aspire to be like. But yeah, if we start like if they become a limitation, where like that means I'm never going to be like that kind of person, then
exactly.
we're actually not helping ourselves. But they can be great ways of just kind of labeling and referencing what we might have been in the past and what our default mode might be.
exactly.
And that's really fun and
Yeah,
helps us
it's fun.
understand ourselves. So I love all of that stuff.
Yeah, I love that stuff, and I also like to. So I'm also into like birth charts myself. Like
Hmm.
not like astrology, but like more like birth charts, reading like your star sign. Like it's also super good. And when you combine both, actually, it creates like a lot of it complement each other, right?
Okay.
Because basically you have your birth sign, but the way you tend to like act into day-to-day basis, yes, is more like your rising sun sign, sorry, is more like the way you try to you portray yourself throughout the to the exterior. And then you have the moon sign, so like you would you also act differently depending on your sign. It's I think the combination of both make it
Hmm.
like super interesting, I think.
I've never got
um
into the astrology stuff, but I know lots
yeah,
of people who
yeah,
swear by it, and so I'm very
it's
open to there being something to it.
yeah.
But I've never found my way into it yet. I don't
It's
quite
not
get how
so.
it's real, but
Yeah,
I'm
but
sure
it's
one day it will become clear to me.
yeah. So it's not like so. A lot of people think astrology. Oh, it's like like the horoscopes and stuff. Well, it's not really that. So it's more like it's more like your birth chart. It's like more like. Yes, people do like the horoscopes, but this is more like So basically, you with like your date, year, and month of birth, and then the where you're born. There's a certain I'm not an expert, but there's a certain like a way the stars are aligned, something, and so you have a certain. So you're born in a certain sign, and you have a certain, sun sign, which is your sign. Venus sign is more like to do with like love, how you would act, more in love. Mars sign, how is your proactive mode, your moon sign and all, and it will also it will give you a kind of but it's the same, but it's more like an indication of how you tend to behave, and also how you could like the positive sides, and also how the things that you may encounter, the challenges you may encounter because of that.
Right.
So yeah, it's
Hmm.
yeah, it's I don't know, yeah, I've come the combination of both make it even more interesting, I feel.
Hmm. Yeah,
So yeah, it gives more perspective.
I'm very open to hearing stuff. I think the thing about INFPs is they're quite open-minded, and I'm definitely open-minded
Yeah,
to things that we don't
yeah,
understand yet.
yeah,
There's a little bit of a logical side of me that still needs a bit of
yeah,
proof about certain things
yeah,
like that. Um, because like with the Enneagram and and the Myers-Briggs, for example, it's like we look at what we actually are, and that's the truth of it, and then we put the label on. Was with the astrology, it feels like
yeah,
because you were born on this date, that means you are this. And it's like it feels like it's working the other way around, and so I've never had it quite described to me in a way that helps me make sense of that logically, but I'm still open-minded to it. I haven't shut it off and gone, it must all be
yeah,
rubbish. I'm kind of like,
yeah.
maybe one day I'll hear the explanation that helps me understand why it resonates.
But yeah, but you can have a look. There are free websites that give you a birth charts, and you can see. But yeah,
Yeah,
also I think it's because I'm a Scorpio. You're more of a Capricorn, right?
I'm
You're
a
January,
Capricorn, and I've just never
and
related to any of the Capricorn stuff because they,
but Capricorns tend to be more on the logical side usually.
yeah,
So it makes sense from what you're saying, because
right.
and the Scorpios, we are a lot into the feel, and we are a lot into like we are very comfortable with the unexplained.
Hmm.
Everything. So it's yeah, it also explains that. So it kind of like even if like you don't relate to everything, there's some things that do.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's a similar things for each sign. There's
Okay.
a common
I would
view.
be intrigued
Yeah.
because whenever I look at the other stuff, like Myers-Briggs and Enneagram, I feel like I'm the emotional one. And when I look at the Capricorn
Yeah.
stuff, it's like I feel like I should be one of the others, and it doesn't quite make sense to me. But maybe there's a way of marrying them up because I
Yeah,
can
but
be quite
but
logical.
after I think it's more of like how you feel, and then it's more like it's more like how you feel, and it not necessarily how you should like behave like this sign. You know what I mean? It's like, but yeah. So yeah, those are super interesting. I feel
it's a potential self-fulfilling prophecy thing.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the same. Similar
as long as you
things.
avoid that, I think, and it helps you, then there's no harm in it.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Also, Carlos. Hello, bonsoir.
Hello.
Also, Gary is gonna speak some French today, so that's perfect. Carlos is a French speaker. Gary said, "I'm gonna speak French on stream." I was like, "Okay."
Do not want.
He wants to exhibit his French. So there you go.
This is embarrassingly bad. I can just list things like fish and cheese and no
fromage. How do you say cheese?
Is it that? No. Oh gosh, maybe I don't even know cheese. What is fromage? Is that
fromage?
Cheese?
Yes, it's cheese. It's just cheese. Yeah.
Okay. See, I don't even know. I'm saying that I know, and I don't know. Hey, Seashell.
Also, Seashell, hello, how are you doing? Have I missed any weird questions? No, we've been starting to talk about Gary's music journey, and then we drifted into the Enneagrams and astrology. That's where we're at right now.
We used to have this CD that our French teacher would play. So I only did French from year 7 to year 9, so that's like 11 to 13 years old, and then stopped. So whatever I remember is so basic. But we listened to this tape of this woman going, "Où est la gare?" Well, I think is that where is the train station, or where is the train?
Où est la gare? Yes.
But she would go, "Où est la gare?" Like in a really sensual way, and we were like, "Whoa, this woman wants to know more than just where the train station is."
Yeah, it's more like, what's the train station, so I can be there. Or,
And of course, the birthday song that I have sang.
Oh yeah.
Before, I can't even pronounce it properly.
You can say the months, I think, right?
I sometimes sing it to Andrew while making lunch or something, and he like shakes his head because he can speak French relatively well.
Oh yeah.
His pronunciation is quite good.
Cool.
And I'll be going like, have you ever heard of a TV program called Only Fools and Horses?
I don't think so.
There was a character who speaks like very Southeast London Cockney accent.
Okay.
And so when he talks French, he keeps his accent. So he'll be like, "Quel âge es-tu?"
Oh my god.
And so it sounds ridiculously stupid. Andrew would say that I sound more like that when I'm singing. Like, I'm trying to be French.
Really? I don't think you do, actually.
He is like, "Quel est ton anniversaire? Janvier, février, mars."
See?
Janvier, février, mars.
There you go.
Del Boy, that's the character, Del Boy. No, but my pronunciation is probably terrible. But I remember janvier.
That's great.
Yeah. Mars.
Yeah.
Avril.
Yeah.
Mai.
Yeah.
Is this one right? Juin. Juin.
Yes.
What's July then?
Juillet.
Juillet. Oh, so it's juin and juillet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Juin is similar to June in the number of letters.
Okay.
That's how you can remember that. It's Juin in French.
And then is it août?
Août. Yes. Août.
Août. Septembre. Octobre. Novembre. Décembre.
I love that.
Sounds Spanish rather than French.
See? It's so interesting because first of all, your pronunciation is great, and also like you say it like an Italian or a Spanish. September is funny, but it's amazing.
Maybe my French teacher was Italian and I never knew this the whole time. I don't know. I remember having this speaking test that we had to do, and I memorized this sentence off by heart, and it's probably completely incorrect. But I used to, we had this question that we had to answer.
Yeah.
What do you do on your birthdays? So you'd have to walk in with the teacher and have this conversation, and that would be the topic. And I like planned this sentence I was going to say that was, you're going to laugh because it's probably all the words are in completely the wrong places. But it was something like, je ne fais rien de spécial. On mange gâteau d'anniversaire et on fait des jeux.
That's amazing.
Does that actually make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think I was trying to say,
that's
amazing. I don't do much on my birthday.
Yeah.
I eat cake and I play games.
That's great. I mean, Carlos would attest to it, but because Carlos is from France as well, in the chat. That was great.
But I think mostly anything else. I just memorized it.
I think you speak better French than you think you do. You pronounce them better.
If I committed to it, I would love to learn it. I think it's a beautiful language, but I just haven't given it enough time.
And Carlos, if Gary had to listen or learn a French song, which one would it be, you think? If there's any French speakers here in chat, what song should Gary listen to in French? Also, Sichel says, I made the connection that Lutti lives in France, but she doesn't have any French accent, I think. Yes, I don't. It's because, I grew up in Singapore, where they have, so it's a UK and Singlish accent. But yeah, and then I studied, so I went to France. So basically my accent tends to change depending on the people that are around me. And I spent 4 years in the UK. I studied in the UK. And then and I also have a lot of American friends. So yeah, I have a mix of that. But I think depending on if I spend more time with British people, I would tend to have more of a British accent. And then my accent it depends on who I'm like. The more I hear an accent, I would pick it up more. You have a hint of many things in your English accent. It's hard to pin down. I grew up in a lot of different accents. So it's and I also did German in school for 10 years. So there's maybe a bit of German for some words, maybe that comes. But yeah.
A song that we spoke about the other day is Tilted.
Yes, that's true.
Could you teach me how to sing like one line from Tilted, maybe? In the French verse? The part that I would probably pick up the easiest is the chorus. So how do you say the Je ne tiens pas debout? How do you say that?
Like you said, je ne tiens pas debout.
Je ne tiens pas debout.
Yeah. Je ne tiens pas debout.
Oh God,
le
that's
ciel
so fast.
coule sur mes mains.
Okay, so is that le ciel?
Ciel.
It's
like a S. It's like a S.
Ciel coule.
Yeah. It means the sky is melting on my hands. It means.
Oh.
So je ne tiens pas debout means I can't stay standing up. Like I can't keep my balance.
It's such
standing
a different
up.
meaning to the English version.
Because tilted is like stunted, right?
Yes.
So when I can't stand up, I'm tilted. I think is what she's kind of saying. I think
that's amazing. So le ciel coule. Is that right?
Yeah, le ciel coule.
Cool.
But in the songs, so no, in the song she pronounces the e at the end, so coule.
Coule.
Yeah, normally the verb we don't say the e, but in the song it's like 2 syllables.
Right.
Coule sur mes mains.
Sur mes mains.
Yeah.
Le ciel coule sur mes mains. No, sur
mes
mains.
Yes.
Ooh, mains. Okay, I was saying mains.
Yeah.
Je ne tiens pas debout. Le ciel coule sur mes mains.
Yes! Yay!
Je ne tiens pas debout. Le ciel coule sur mes mains.
You're doing so great. You're doing so. So it's Je ne tiens pas debout. Le ciel coule sur mes mains.
Coule sur mes mains.
Yeah.
Coule sur mes mains. Okay.
Sur mes mains.
Je ne tiens pas debout. Le ciel coule sur mes mains.
Yeah.
Is that kind of right?
That's right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right. Je ne tiens. Yeah, how do you say the word beginning with T in the first line? Tiens. Je ne tiens pas debout. Le ciel coule. Le ciel coule sur mes mains.
Yes. Yay.
Gosh, two lines.
Yes, and then so it repeats, and then the very last one. So je ne tiens pas debout, le ciel coule sur mes mains. Je ne tiens pas debout, Le ciel coule sur, ça ne tient
Oh.
pas debout. Le ciel coule sur mes mains, ça ne tient pas debout. Sous mes pieds, le ciel revient. I
It
suppose that.
changes. So instead of je n'ai, it's now ça n'est. So
Yeah, that's
what's
true.
different?
That's true.
What's that?
So ça, it's ça means it. 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 So it doesn't. So now it is tilted. So maybe the it refers to the sky. I think in this
Okay.
context. I think we're doing French analysis right now. This is a. But yeah, so it's a ça. So ça is like sa. You pronounce it like if it was sa.
Ça.
Ça ne tient pas debout. Same as before.
Ça ne tient pas debout.
Ça ne tient pas debout.
Ça ne tient pas debout.
Le ciel. Yeah.
Ça, is it ça n'est?
Ne.
Ne. Ça
Yes.
ne. Ça ne
Tient pas.
Oh, is it tient?
Tiens. I don't know how. Yeah. Tiens.
Because to my brain that says shouldn't, like the word patient. And I'm having to go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's true.
Ça.
See the word patient in French, we say patient.
Patient.
Patient. That's patient in French. With the same. I think it's the same spelling even than in English.
So it's ça ne
Steggy!
tient
Hello.
pas debout.
Yes. Ça ne tient pas debout.
Ça ne tient pas debout.
Yes.
Getting closer.
You're doing so good. Steggy, we are teaching Gary here the song Tilted in French. Also,
Hey,
hello, Steggy. How are you doing?
Just derailed for just a couple of minutes and then we'll get back on track. But this is
fun though. And, you know, maybe next time you can ask the song in French to Gary on the stream.
No, I'll be asking you for this song in French.
Okay.
Je ne tiens pas debout, le ciel coule sur mes mains.
Yes, that was so good. That was so good.
Okay.
That was so good. And then the ending goes, ça ne tient pas debout sous mes pieds. The very last part.
Sous mes pieds.
Is under my feet. It means sous mes pieds, le ciel revient.
Le ciel revient.
So under my feet, the sky returns. Like the sky comes back.
So poetic. Sous mes pieds. Pieds? Is that
Pieds,
right?
yes.
Pieds.
Exactly.
Le ciel revient.
Yes. You're doing
The
so
right
good.
pronunciation of
Yes.
revient.
Yeah. So the revient is like is the same way you pronounce it as tien.
So
Tien
it's
and
more
revient,
like
you pronounce it the same way.
Revient.
The yen.
Revient.
Yeah. Yes.
Revient.
Exactly.
Revient. Sous mes pieds, le ciel revient.
I love it because you have like the Italian.
Well, why am I
finger-
doing that? Why? But for
I love that
Napoli,
so much. I mean, so we do speak also with our hands in front sometimes. I speak with my hands. Yeah, you did so good.
Thank you.
That was so
That's
good.
really fun. I think the French language is so beautiful.
Thank you.
It
Well,
just sounds so
French can
smart.
also not be beautiful. It also cannot be beautiful. It
Really?
cannot. Yes.
I don't think I've heard those parts yet.
Yeah, I think it's best if you don't. I think. Would you like to try the song again?
Okay, so what you want me to try singing the chorus?
Yes.
Can you? Okay. Je ne tiens pas de tiens. Je ne
Yes.
tiens pas debout. Le ciel coule sur mes mains. Je ne tiens pas debout. Le ciel coule sur, ça ne tient pas debout. Le ciel coule sur mes mains. Ça ne tient pas debout. Sous mes pieds. How do you say that last bit?
Revient. Sous le ciel
Sous mes
revient.
pieds is
Yeah.
the melody, like sous mes pieds. How do you say that?
Ça ne tient pas debout. Sous mes pieds, le ciel revient. I think it's that.
Sous mes pieds, le ciel revient. Okay.
Revient.
Yeah.
But that was so good. That was so good. You know, I'm sure that if you spent more time, you would totally be able to sing this.
I need more hours in the day. I really do. But
It was so good, no?
if I was to learn
Chat.
a language, I would pick French. And I
French
did
is a difficult
try.
language. Do you know that even like even some French people can't even spell and speak French well? So
Same with
uh,
English.
French is a difficult language.
I'm an
Like
English tutor. I'm
that is
tutoring
true.
teenagers,
That
and
is
it's
true.
that there are some difficulties. It feels like
Yeah.
they're speaking a different language to me sometimes.
Yeah, in French, like what's hard, I think, especially for like English speakers, is the way you say, like you say the R is r, right?
Yeah.
And not because in Spanish you roll the R like r,
Yeah.
but in French it's r.
I think I have some experience with that.
I think.
And because Andrew said the same thing, he speaks Afrikaans, and they have a lot of
Yeah.
that
Afrikaans,
sound.
it's a bit Dutch, right? It
Yes.
has Dutch influence, right? I
Yes.
believe.
And when
I
he's
remember.
taught me a couple of Afrikaans words, he says that I've picked up the part quite well.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
because people from Liverpool do the same thing. And my family are from Liverpool. So they have their
Okay.
Scouse accents. And they say, like, there's a football player called Jamie Carragher.
Okay.
And he would always say, "Great, I'm Jamie Carragher." And he would say like that Liverpool accent, a
Yeah.
really strong one, has that like
Yeah.
get
Okay.
chips off
In Scotland, they say the R like that as well. No, in Scotland, and
Sometimes I think
I
that's
think
right. Yeah.
the Scoos, Gary.
Scouse. Scotty. Yes,
What does
fantastic.
Scouse mean?
Somebody from Liverpool, they're a Scouser.
Oh, okay.
They're a Scouser. So a
Okay.
Scouser sounds like this. I'm Stephen Gerrard, it's great, fantastic, mate.
Okay.
Going down to Liverpool, get a couple of bevies.
Okay.
Yeah, fantastic.
I remember I had people like people from Scotland when I was in UK. The worst for me was having someone with a Scottish accent on the phone.
Yeah.
It's horrible because you can't it's very difficult to understand.
But I hope what you understand is that like there are sketch shows, like comedy shows in England where somebody, like I'm sure I've seen a sketch show where somebody answers the phone and someone with a heavy Scottish accent answers, and the English person is listening going, I can't understand a word they're saying.
Yeah.
Like that. Hello there. I'm sorry, what?
I remember like when I was in the UK, so we were in this student house, right, and like a shared apartment, and I was the one who had to call the people for the gas and all, right, and so already like I hate calling people, so that for one, and so I picked up the phone. I was like, and it was this guy with like this Scottish accent. I was like. I was telling my roommate, I was like, I do not understand what he's telling me. So I gave her the phone. I was like, maybe you have better. She's from the UK. I was like, maybe you have better chance than me. She did not understand what he was saying either. I was like, this is great. This is going great. We also had like a flatmate who, I don't know which part of the UK he was, but like, I think like very few people could understand. He spoke so fast with a very, I don't know if it was Cockney. But it was like very fast accent, and like honestly, it was so hard to understand what he was saying. Like, yeah. But in France, we have that is also like if you go in the north part of France, they have a different accent. So the movie Bienvenue chez les Ch'tis. I don't know how what was its name in English. I know there was they made it in English, but I forgot what this was called. But yeah, it's a very difficult accent to understand. And also sometimes if you go to the south, they have different accents. So Marseillais and Montpellier, different accent.
Okay.
And yeah, it can be very hard to understand. But and also you have the Canadian French. So like Rick probably speaks French Canadian.
He does.
And it's hard for me to understand sometimes what he says. Like they use different words for things, and they say things differently, and also the accent. So sometimes it's difficult to know what they're saying.
So fascinating, like how languages develop. I find it so interesting, and I love that we can chat about it and be amused by all the differences. And I think that's so great.
So I'm laughing because like the way Penny is sitting right now,
Oh, yeah.
it looks like she's judging you right now, which is very funny to me.
Probably is. It probably is.
So in French we have different words, right, that mean different things, but are pronounced the same way. So I wanted to. He wanted me to read this to you. So, 100 is cent.
Cent.
Yes.
Okay.
Without is cent.
Okay.
Blood is cent. Like sense. Is sens. Sens. And feel, like to feel something, is sens. Like sens. Smell. Actually, it's smell. Also, that smell. Sens is also smelling. Is also, but they have different spelling. So, the 100 is cent, CENT. Without is SANS. Blood is SANG. And sense is like SENS.
I sense 100 bloods without sense. How do you say that sentence? Son.
So, what I sense, je sens sans.
Son.
Je sens sans. Yeah, that's exactly how you say that. Je sens sans. So we're starting to talk about your music journey, and then we were talking about Ironic and Avril, and then we also talked about the Enneagrams, and so I think we can go back to like your music journey if you would like.
Sure.
And so basically, at what point did you feel like, okay, I'm going to start being more serious with the music and be like, okay, I want to actually write songs and place like how did it start? How did like Gary B. Lucas start?
Oh god, that's a big question. I think the first part of that answer is that just life happened to me.
Yeah.
And because the kinds of people that I was enjoying the most were songwriters themselves, they were always falling under that label of singer-songwriters. My favorites were always those people rather than the boy bands and the girl bands and the Britney Spearses who had songs written for them. I was more drawn to the people who were playing instruments and in their interviews were talking about how they wrote themselves. So I knew that existed.
Yeah.
And so it just happened really naturally when things started to go wrong in my life.
Oh, no.
So like as soon as I became an emotional teenager, I just had this outlet. I was like, I'm just going to do that thing that all of my idols are. I'm just going to write about it in my diary and then I'm going to write something about it. So I think I was very, very lucky that that I knew that it was a thing, because I don't even know if it would have occurred to me.
Yeah. Was it more like a sort of like music therapy for you? Because it's funny how like our experiences can trigger this need for creation. Because it was similar for me with like painting. So I also like used to sing a lot, but it was more for myself and was more like guitar and karaoke. But I think I was more in like expressive wise, like expression was more into like painting and drawing and stuff. And so it's interesting how these experiences can like trigger.
There's some of your paintings behind you, right, on the wall.
Yeah, so this is one of mine. So the two ones on the side are from other artists. The center one is mine.
Oh no.
But it's funny because I also make art from my experiences and emotions. So I put because for a long time I wasn't very good at like expressing my emotions with words.
Right.
So I was better at expressing them through like imagery and through like colors and like shapes and stuff like that.
Right. That's really interesting. Because I've never been good at art at all, and that's not just being self-deprecating. That is just being factual.
I mean, I call abstract. When I do that, I sometimes be like, okay, it's just abstract. I think, but yeah, I can't. I can't like. It's not I can't, but I'm not very good at like realistic drawing. It's more like. So I'm better with like abstract stuff.
I do really like abstract.
We've seen him play Scribble. He's right. Okay.
It's so cute.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Scribble is not the. I'm not sure it's the best app to like showcase our talents.
It's so true. Even with a pencil and paper, I can barely draw a stick man. But I'm absolutely fine with it. Like, there's no part of me that wants to be an artist.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, when I got to like 15, 16, the main thing that happened for me was that realizing I was gay, and it felt like this huge secret. I kept it secret for maybe 2 years, where I didn't tell anybody, and it was a thing that was on my mind, like the first thing when I thought in the morning, last thing I'm thinking about when I fall asleep. This thing of like, is this bad? And like really worrying, huge anxiety about it.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky that it was only 2 years, because other people have had experiences of people holding this secret for nearly their whole life. 30 years, 40 years. So the fact that it was only 2 years, when you compare it to those other stories, doesn't seem that bad. But when you're 14, 15, 16 years old, and you have this huge thing that you are reluctant to tell people because you think it's going to make them not like you anymore. You think it's going to you think it's going to change everything, and it was just this very, very heavy thing that really weighed on me. And writing either just in my journal or just writing songs about it just came very naturally. There was no sort of like, I will write a song about this. There wasn't even a thought. It just happened. It
was a way for you to get your emotions out, and how you were feeling out. And you are great with words. I mean, we've I don't know if already back then you already were writing, like you were already good with words, but I mean, seeing how you are you make the mashups look so easy, on your stream. Because I don't know so for the people who don't know Gary makes incredible mashups. Okay, you can give him like 5 different songs that have nothing to do, like nothing in common, and he somehow makes them sound perfect together, and so like it's amazing. It really is a skill, because so you've made me also kind of try to think about mashups, but it is really hard to think about even just just mashup is amazing. And also seeing the lyrics to your songs, you can tell that you're great with lyrics.
Well, I loved English classes when I was that age. So I was really into words. I genuinely didn't feel like I had a good mastery over words. And again, that's not to bring myself down, but the kinds of writers that I was aspiring to be like, I felt like I was a long way from them. But in trying to emulate them and just doing what they were doing, I was getting somewhere. What came very naturally was writing really honestly. Like when I was writing, I wasn't holding back at all, because it was private. Like, I didn't share these songs for a while. They were just mine. And so there was no reason to hold back. I can't tell anyone else all these things that are going on in my head. So I may as well be honest with myself. And even if the words, like sometimes some of the songs, when I look back at them, I'm a little bit embarrassed sometimes when I look back at them, because I think they could have been better quality. I could have chosen a better word or phrase, for example. But in the same way that we were talking about with Let Go by Avril, like some of the lyrics that sound a bit kind of plain actually are just the ones that resonate the most, because she sounds like she was 15 or 16. And so sometimes I can look back at songs like Rain or In Doubt, or glow and be like, oh, he was just a teenager, and cut myself some slack. It doesn't matter that I didn't say it in a more poetic way. It just whatever it was, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Whereas now when I write songs, I'm much more like really thinking about, is this the exact precise right word?
Yeah.
But sometimes I go too far in that direction, and I have to stop being
Yeah.
about it and just be like, okay, go back to being intuitive again. So
Yeah.
it's always that balance.
Yeah. But it helps that you love English and you're good at English, because you know, it helps with vocabulary, and because so you would know that I love Taylor Swift, right? But if you take her as an example, she has, I think she's always been a great songwriter, like a lyricist. She's been always great with words, and I mean it's the same as what you've been saying. You know, what she started writing I think her very first album, she was probably like 16 or 17, and you can tell so especially now that she's re-recording, you know, her albums, you can tell the difference between, you know, when she recorded them and wrote them when she was 15. So all of those experiences were like raw and kind of like, you know, viewed as like with a teenage point of view, like, you know, young point of view, and also like she was probably still living the trauma, like, you know, the experiences. So they come into that, and then when you hear them now in the you know the adult version, where because now she's like, I think 32 or something, or 35, and like she you know, her voice has matured, has changed, and like she's healed also from most of the things. So like it's like, so like when she goes back to them and sings them, it's like it's a different feeling, and you know, she brings new things to those. So it's like yeah, you can see that also there.
How did you talk to your family about being gay? So I mean,
did you talk to them?
This is a huge conversation.
It is a huge conversation.
But I'll try to give you the quick version. It was not easy. I have a couple of people in my family who are very religious, and they really struggled to understand and accept it. And I was still encouraged to just ignore it and marry a woman instead.
Yeah.
So that was really hard, obviously.
Yeah.
The brother closest in age to me was the best about it. He was the only one that said, you know, something along the lines of, it doesn't change anything, I still love you the same.
Yeah.
But my other brother ignored me for a year and said that I was going through a phase and that I would get out of it. And other people in my family just kind of never brought it up and never spoke about it because they were a bit embarrassed by it. So there's a lot of things to do with self-worth and feeling uncomfortable in my own skin that come from kind of feeling like everyone in my family was turning their back on me, metaphorically. Like outwardly they were still sort of being me, but there was this elephant in the room all the time because I brought it up and wanted to talk about it, but I was shut down. So
and you were still young, right? You were like, what, around 20?
No, I was 17.
You were still 17. Yeah, it's quite young to so first of all, like, I mean, congrats for taking the courage to say it, because a lot of people don't do that for, you know, in fear. And so it's amazing. And I don't know if now things are better or have improved.
Definitely better, definitely improved. Not perfect, but I mean, there's so many different layers to it. But one of the layers is that I realized I have to get my self-worth from myself and not from them. And that's a big part of it. But two, they have made they're in their own way, they've become more comfortable. In their own way.
Yeah, it's this is a big topic, you know, homosexuality, and you know, especially what's going on in the world right now. It's you know, it's a huge topic, but it's also important, I think, to talk about it, because I mean, first of all, on my channel, we are a channel where, you know, everyone should feel comfortable, no matter your race, you know, no matter you know, your orientation, no matter if you're a woman or a man. Right, and so it's really important for this channel especially. that everyone feels safe in it. And I think it's amazing to that you came to embrace it and be confident in it. I don't know if you're 100% confident. I mean, you were to say, but at least you embrace it, and because not a lot of people do that, and I feel like you're. It's amazing. So congrats to you.
I would describe myself as being sort of quietly confident. I definitely have a sort of resilience that has built up, even to the point where last night when I was out last night at an open mic night, and there was somebody I was having a conversation with who said, you know what I've got a problem with is bisexuals, because why don't they just pick one and stop confusing us? And normally I would have just sat back and not said anything, but this time I just said, you're actually wrong with what you said there. That is wrong. That's like saying to someone, you're making me uncomfortable because you have green eyes. Like, you can't change if you have green eyes. Yeah. You can't change if you're bisexual or if you're gay or if you're straight. So like, whatever problems you have about like, why don't they just decide, is your own insecurities. And I said that to them directly.
That's good you say. Good.
There is a sort of quiet, confident resilience that is coming up that I'm practicing every now and again.
That's good. But yeah, no, it's also like basically you can't control who you love, and who you are, fall in love. It just happened, and you have to, I mean, society does put a lot of there's a lot of especially I think when we were younger, because I think now it's more a lot more people are more open about it. But before when I grew up, also it was not really talked about, and it was not really something that was maybe it was common, but it was very secret, and it was not very I was also raised as a Catholic, but
that's the whole story,
and
sure.
so like it's so when I knew that it was a possibility, it was just I didn't know. So it's not that like I had a problem with it. It was more that like my brain had a hard time integrating that it was a possibility, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't want, not that I was opposed to it or anything. It was more like okay, I need time to know that it's actually a thing, and that's okay.
Just
and exactly, I wasn't exposed to it before when I was younger.
Feel like it is just as normal a thing.
Exactly, and because people make you think that it's not normal, and it's especially in the older generations, it's not normal, it's hidden, it's all those things. And so and I think a lot of people also come from that background where they don't necessarily got exposed to this, so yeah, it's but I think it's a good thing that you spoke up, because it helps open people's minds and make them realize, oh, actually, I might not be right. And also like educating people. It's like more about educating.
I feel like it is. It honestly feels like educating people. Like, I think I have to. My role in this life is to educate my family.
Yes,
because
it's difficult.
Sometimes they just don't know. They don't know the truth.
Family can be the hardest to educate, actually. Why? Hello, Jamie. How are you doing?
Hi, everyone.
I have hazel eyes and I couldn't pick between green and blue. And I shouldn't have to. I know, right? What a shame. I mean, what a shame. Imagine if you could pick your eye color.
It's like going up to you and saying, could you just go through life closing your eyes? Because I don't want to see them. They make me uncomfortable. Like, I'm sorry that you need to see, but I need to not be offended. So thanks.
I know. A lot of people are like that, unfortunately. They just think about their own, what suits them, and not about, the others, unfortunately.
Yeah. I think that's what encouraged me to speak with a bit more firmness, though, because the way that they said it was so dismissive and just so wrong that I wasn't even like, I'm not sure about that. I was just like, you're wrong.
Yeah, no, yeah, and sometimes, like, you know, it's not even worth getting into arguments with them, because, you know, I love this saying, and I've been learning. Yeah, it's so true. It's like you can lead the horse to the water, right? But you can't make them drink. And so, you know, sometimes it's just like you're just wasting more energy trying to convince them rather than just, you know,
Yeah.
just not saying. I mean, it's important to say, but I mean, you know, just
Yeah. If
not
I
getting
was still
involved
there
into
half an hour later
arguments.
going, hold on, I don't think you've got this thing yet.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like, say it and
yeah.
move on. But better to say it than to say nothing at all is what I'm trying to get. Because
Yeah.
the thing is, I think with that particular person, the kind of circles they keep, I don't think anyone else is going to tell them. They're going to just be in a vacuum where everyone else is
Yeah,
going, oh, yeah, I
exactly.
think it's weird as well. Why don't they just pick? Yeah. So I'm one of the only
Exactly.
people in her life that's going to actually challenge that opinion. So
But that's good. That's a good thing, because, like, she will know that, you know, there are people who think differently, and you know, and not everyone's alike, and I think it's a good thing. Is this like your main inspiration for your first album? Because I feel from the things you've been saying, like, there's a lot of I hear a lot of inspiration from some of the songs in that first album, like, you know, To Be Me, and so is that
I think,
what sparked that?
well, what's interesting is that
Yeah,
that first album I put out in 2015, and I was
yeah,
already in my 20s by then.
yeah.
And I actually consider my first album to be an album that you can only hear on my Patreon. It's so the audio quality is not very good. It's not good enough to put onto Spotify and YouTube and
Okay,
everything. But I put it onto Patreon. It's an album called Demarcation, and
okay,
that has a lot more songs that are of the sort of
okay,
teenage years.
okay.
Whereas by the time that the Where My Story Goes came out, there was a lot. There were a few songs where that initial sort of this feels like a heavy secret thing, and
Yeah,
and yada yada, and falling in love with a straight boy song. That was
yeah.
all in the past, and there was
Okay,
other new, just
yeah,
I don't know, other stuff like songs like Worry and To Be Me and You Think You Know Me, are
yeah,
kind of just general anxiety songs rather than things specifically
yeah,
about that particular
yeah.
secret. Um, but the first batch of songs I wrote in my teens felt like they were nearly all about that, all
Yeah.
about either being
Okay.
gay or being in love with someone and not being able to tell them, which is where Glow
Yeah.
and Rain and
Okay.
those ones come from.
Yeah.
Whereas The Way My Story Goes, a little bit more early 20s kind of me mixed in with some of those teen ones.
Yeah.
Because I had never put them out on an album. So
Yeah.
when it came time to decide what songs to do, like I had so many songs, I didn't know how to pick them. And the
Yeah.
songs that wound up being on the album, genuinely, this is what I did. I had just met Andrew,
Yeah.
who is much more logical and practical minded than I am, much more organized than I am. And I
Okay.
sent him all of the demos I had made.
Yeah.
There were so many. He listened to every single one of them,
Wow.
and he picked 11 songs.
Great job, Andrew.
So he picked the songs that were on the
Yay.
album based not on what
Yay.
he's not a lyrics
Okay.
person, really.
Yeah.
He wasn't really thinking like, what's this about? He just said,
Yeah.
these are the ones that I think are the catchiest. These ones I think are
Okay.
the best that I would
That's
want to
nice.
listen to again. So I just trusted him as an outsider.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because otherwise I wouldn't have released
Yeah.
anything. In true INFP fashion, I would have just daydreamed about the rest of my life and never released anything.
And so, like, so Andrew was the one who encouraged you to release. So Gary released his first album in 2015. So Andrew was the first the person who, like, got you to release the album, or
Interesting. I had already recorded a bunch of demos, but
okay.
I was lacking the ability to finish a project,
Okay.
and I was
Yeah.
lacking the
I
confidence
know that feeling.
to get out into the world.
Yeah.
And I think there were
Yeah.
just a few practical things that he helped me with, just narrowing my attention down to 11 songs, because otherwise I would just be like, oh, today I'll work on this song, oh, I'll switch to that song tomorrow.
Yeah. I have the same problem.
So once he helped me narrow it down to those 11, I then worked on those 11 for a few months, and they got better production wise, to the point where it's like, okay, I could share this with people now, whereas otherwise I had 50 really rubbish demos.
Yeah. And so if you were to explain to the chat about, like, the album, how would you describe the album? Like, you know, yeah.
The Way My Story Goes, that one.
Yeah. How? Yeah. If we talk about the way my story goes.
Well, that lyric comes from a song called "Tell Me That It's Time," and I liked the phrase "the way my story goes" because it kind of felt like any song could fit into that theme. This is just part of my story, so that allows for some of those younger teenage songs, and it allows for some of these other songs. There's oh gosh, what is that album about? Gosh, it's been nearly 10 years since I released it.
That's true. In December, in 2 months it's going to be a year. 10 years.
I think there's a lot about identity. It's like To Be Me and You Think You Know Me and Worry are all songs where you're just very like stuck in your head and worrying what other people think of you and how they perceive you and trying to fight against that and to not seek approval in how others think of you, which is an ongoing battle. I've never perfected it, but it's been there. I was reading a lot of self-help books at the time, like there's actually a book by Anita Morjani, who had a near-death experience.
Oh, wow.
She wrote a song called Dying to Be Me.
Okay, wow.
So she felt like she had to die to then be confident enough to just be herself. And so that book really inspired me. And then there's a few sort of, I had to put a few kind of love songs on there, like Glow, the love song. Yeah. And then Tell Me That It's Time is about my dad passing away. And Make the Pain Go Away is just a kind of prayer to like, why is life so hard? Can you just make it all stop for 1 second, please? So it's just all different parts of what had made me up by the time I was like 25 or 26, however old I was.
But I think it's a nice title to start with, because it's basically a window to you. It's like, this is me. This is about me.
Yes.
And it's nice to. And if you had to pick, did you have any personal favorites from that album?
Probably
because the favorite from the album is Glow, because I see on Spotify it has at 1K.
Yeah, but, that really surprised me.
But would do you have a favorite? And is it like similar to the popular opinion?
Really interesting question. What I can tell you is that every time I write a song, at the moment that I've just finished it, it's my favorite song.
Okay.
So at some point, every single one of those songs was my favorite. But I particularly remember being 16, writing Glow, and feeling like I've done it. I've got a song. It made me emotional as I played it, and I was like very particular about where the chords should be, and I was like, it has to be there. It has to be there. And I remember getting a very magical feeling about the song Glow. So that one has a special place in my heart. And my feelings towards it have increased since I've been on Twitch, because it's become one of the most popular songs to request, which really surprised me, because I assumed that it was the most naive lyrically, and people would be like,
Chris said Glow is a top song. There you go.
Yeah. So. I was really surprised that Chris likes it, because especially Chris being a Radiohead fan,
That's true.
I assumed that Glow would be naive, and
That's true. That's true.
I don't know what the words are anymore. But I think if I had to pick one favorite from the album, I would say Make the Pain Go Away.
Okay.
I love that song. It's the kind of song that every time I play it, I don't get bored of it ever.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know if I've actually listened to that one.
It's a very somber one, very slow.
Would you like to play it, or?
Oh, like an acoustic version?
If you want to.
Sure, I can. Yeah, that's a good.
Let's do that.
It's normally on piano, this song, but I'll do a guitar version.
Yay! Yeah, if you want to, we can do that.
I've screamed and ached. I've cried for days. I've lied and faked, but still it stays. I've bled and burned, vented and scorned. It's so absurd. It won't go away. So I say, please. I say, please. And I say, please, make the pain go away. I've blocked it out, from whisper to shouting. So how about making your way? I've heard it all, but still I fall. Why don't you crawl back from whence you came? And I say, please. I say, please. And I say, please, make the pain go away. And I say, please. I say, please. And I say, please, make the pain go away. Make the pain go away. Make the pain go away.
Yay! That was so good.
Thank you.
That's so nice. I like it. I like it.
I remember playing it on Twitch, and Walt came along and said that it sounds like a prayer, and I had never thought of that before. And then I thought, you know what, it does. It sounds
it sounds so nice. First, I don't know why, but I feel like it's a great song for this like winter vibe. Winter Christmas. I don't know, for some reason it gives me that winter vibes. Cozy a little bit, even if it's
possibly it has a sort of like end of year feel, because like you're saying, make the pain go away. It's like you're looking back at what has just happened. Like I've screamed and cried, like this has been rubbish. So it's like New Year's resolution, I'm not going to do anything, but you need to take the pain away.
It was really good. Thanks for playing that. Also, Carlos, A Fly Stuck to a Web, Tenzi, Alice, Y, James, Rick is here. Thank you for the clappies. If you want to go listen to this original, it's on Spotify. Is it also on YouTube? I don't know if it's on YouTube.
There will be an audio video.
Okay, so
all of the
Bandcamp, right?
If you go to YouTube and go to the tab or whatever it's called, releases, you can listen to all of the audios of songs. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, so go follow, go on Spotify and Bandcamp if you would like to do the original. That was so good. It was so nice to have a little like guitar intermission. And yeah, so So you wrote that album. So was that before Twitch? That was before Twitch, right?
Yeah, that was so like I was piecing the album together in 2014, and I think what feels weird about it is that like most people, you know, like Avril Lavigne, Taylor Swift, yada yada,
Yeah.
they write a bunch of songs and then they put them on an album, and then they write a new bunch of songs and they put them on an album.
Yeah.
I was already, how old was I? 25 or something. So I had accumulated hundreds of songs. So it wasn't like it was like the most recent bunch go on the new album. I was like looking back at the hundreds of songs I'd written. I'm like, what the hell do I put on my first album? I don't want to ignore the songs I wrote years ago, but I want some of them to be representative of like the most recent period. So like, In Doubt, Glow, and Rain, which begin the album, are all like teenage Gary songs.
Okay.
And Worry, Tell Me That It's Time, Make the Pain Go Away were more like recent 20-year-old Gary songs. So
that's so good because it kind of like covers basically I mean your life until then. That's so cool.
Ideally, I would have been like signed to a record label when I was 17 and released my version of Let Go that had Glow and everything on, and then this would have been like my fourth album that was like more like authentic. It doesn't happen like that because that's just how life works.
Maybe it's a better way because if you had done that, maybe we wouldn't have had Ocean Emotions.
It's exactly nothing would have been the same.
Like you know, they say things happen for a reason. In a way, I don't know. So sometimes it may be annoying, but you know. But yeah.
If you guys are happy with Ocean Emotions, then my work is done.
I'm personally very happy with Ocean's Emotions. Like, I think I've said it to you before, but Ocean Emotions is Gary's second album and latest album, and released in 2023.
Yes. That's correct.
So that was recent. Wow. And Tamsi is very happy. There you go. But you know, a lot of the songs in Ocean's Emotions are songs that I can personally relate to. I don't know what it is specifically about that album, but like, all the songs are so good. They're all so good, and like I can relate to a lot of the songs on it. And I think it's a great album, and you know, they're you know, it's not always the case where, you know, I like all the songs from like an album, right? Sometimes I just like one or two. But that one, so you know, that one is you know, I've pretty much added the whole album to my playlist, you know. So and cool. You know, the songs in that album are so they have a deeper feel, if you just see what I mean. And you can tell from also the production wise, and also the topics and lyric wise, you can tell how like they're a lot deeper. And you can tell that it's like older Gary, but also maybe Gary who has maybe done a lot of interest, like you know, in the work and introspection and stuff like that. You can tell from the lyrics and the, you know, the topics.
Yay for growth!
And yay, yay! And it's very funny because as an artist, I painted. I did a painting called Underwater Paradise. Basically, it's a scuba diver, right? And the first song I ever loved from that album is Breathe Under the Water, which is funny because like it's kind of like a similar vibes, right, to that one. And yeah, it's an amazing album. I don't know, do you mind explaining how that album came to be? How like your inspirations for that album?
There's somewhat of a similarity to the first album in that I had released lots of singles, and then I released an EP, but I still had hundreds of songs. It's always been my problem that I've developed all of these songs.
Yeah.
And there's always this question over me, like, what am I going to release next?
Yeah.
And around that time, when I started recording like the demos for the songs that I wanted, I think I had Breathe Under the Water. That was one of the main songs I think that was driving it. I was like, I really,
it's a great song, that
I
one.
knew I was going to either release it as an individual single or it had to be on the next album.
Yeah.
And I love doing what Alanis Morissette does, which is to get your album title from the words of one of your songs.
Ah, yeah.
So The Way My Story Goes comes from Tell Me That It's Time. And then I was looking through the lyrics of Breathe Under the Water, and I thought Ocean Emotions sounds like a really interesting album title. And once I had that, it's like, okay, so the other songs on this album, they have permission to go to the emotional extremes. Like even if there's a song that I'm a bit embarrassed about because it's really emotional and really vulnerable, it's like, this is the album to put it on, because when else are you going to have an album called Ocean Emotions? Like, an ocean is so deep, so vast, so wide. It can be really gentle sometimes, and then it can be very waves. So I thought,
like, just like emotions.
This gives me permission to go to really dark places and then really bouncy happy places and everything in between.
Yeah.
And so once I had that, I was able to look at a song like Take Another Piece of My Heart, which is quite an old song, actually.
Right.
But because it's angry, and because it was like, right, kick me while I'm down, why don't you? Ugh. Because it was that. I was like, the album, that could open the album. Like Ocean Emotions, we're going to like kick off with this huge wave of anger. I was like, oh, that's where it goes. Like, I love that feeling of like, you have a place of where it's going to go in the album.
Yeah.
And then like
Rick says banger there.
Oh, thanks, Rick. Thanks, Rick. You've always liked that one. He likes the electric guitars, you see.
I see the inspiration. Yeah.
And there's a song called "Take Me Down to the Finish Line," which is like one of the most depressing.
Yeah, that is. Well, which is interesting because it's one of my favorite songs. Also, it's a great song, but
that's just Enneagram all over. Like, open up EnneagramInstitute.com, go to the unhealthy level. Oh, Gary B. Lucas, Take Me Down to the Finish Line.
It's one of the saddest songs, but it's like, you know how we say that some of like sad song is sometimes one of the best songs because like it brings out so much emotion. And also when it's like the lyrics and all and Take Me Down to the Finish Line is one of them. Such a good song.
I think I was able to be so vulnerable in that song because again, I started making the demo before Twitch, so like that song existed before I even felt like I had anything of an audience. And when I make demos on my computer, like, I have absolutely no idea if I'm going to release it. And so as I'm making it, just like I was when I was a teenager, like the lyrics are just pure honesty. There's nothing, there's no censoring of any kind. And it's like when I've then got the song and I'm like, oh God, I've got an album called Ocean Emotions. Like, if there's ever going to be an album this song goes on, it has to be this one, because the title gives me permission to go to the darkest emotion. So I put it on there, and I'm really pleased that I did, because a few people have told me that they really liked that one.
It's a really great song, and also like the the way the songs are ordered in the album makes it so you go from like dark and you go for a bit of hope, and lighter, and then you go to something a bit. And so it's nice because you're not always, it's not just sad, and then it's like I think it's well balanced also.
That's really cool. I definitely was hoping for that, so that's really cool that came across.
No, but it was a really great time to when I discovered that album, because so I don't know if you guys know this in the chat, but like I think I've said it, but I have similar, maybe it's from being an INFP type 4 as well, but like I have similar, I went to similar like emotions, I would say, at the time, and I think I didn't even know you at the time yet, and so it was, and I was also putting like similar emotions but into painting, because I have paintings where I actually express similar emotions, and I have paintings that are very like they explore like the mind and emotions, and like so when I discovered that album, I was like, this is so fitting, and it's so like it's almost like mirroring a little bit in a way, Um,
I would love to see some of these
yeah.
paintings, if you're willing to share them one day.
I will. I think some of them are on my website.
Okay.
But yeah, I would. Because yeah, so like you. So because something you said was very true. Is that you you make your music for you, and not necessarily for an audience, which is so important because sometimes you can tend to be like, oh, I'm going to write a song for them, and so you might not. Feel it personally, or you might not put yourself into the song. And I think some of the best songs are the ones that you write like with personally and for yourself, and that's where you feel the most depth and the most emotion when you do that. And I can relate to with art as well. It's like it's easy to be like, oh, I'm gonna make art because first of all, we have this like trend now going on with art. I could totally make art because that's what people like at the moment, right? But I'd be like, oh, I'm just gonna, but no, I want to make stuff that are for me. To express, what I'm going through or what I have on my mind, and then if people like it, then it's good. So like, yeah, and I think it's a similar thing for a lot of artists that I listen to. Obviously Taylor Swift come to like the moment for the first one, but like they, I think the best songs are the ones that people write from their heart and like for themselves. I feel
like songs can be so many things, but I was always drawn to those very confessional lyricists. They were the ones that moved me the most. Now I love all kinds of songs as well. Like, I love fun party songs where the lyrics are not necessarily all deep and meaningful as well, but I think those teenage years have were good for me because I really was only writing for myself. I was almost forced to write for myself. They were so private. I didn't want people to see them. But they had to do something for me first. And so I think that has always stayed.
So does that mean that there are like hundreds more Gary Lucas uncovered songs, unheard songs?
Hundreds.
So are you gonna do like a Vault session, like Taylor Swift version, but Gary version with like hidden songs?
I have a Patreon where you can hear something like 30 of them, I think. You can listen to my album called Demarcation that I made in 2008, 2009. And I started doing a thing called Old Song Tuesday. Every Tuesday, I would, in one day, make a demo for a song that I had never recorded before. Or that I had recorded and I hated the recording of, and I would just make a new demo based on like also my production skills have improved over the years. So I would challenge myself to in one day to make a production of a song that has never had a finished production.
That'd be cool to see.
I think I did 13 of them. So that those 13 songs exist, and they're mostly songs that I'm kind of like, I like them, but I don't think they're going to go on an album in the future. They're not going to be ones that I put onto Spotify. But maybe, but I have this idea that Tempsy gave me to, even if they don't go onto Spotify, maybe to release an album on Bandcamp. And call them Afterthoughts.
That's something I've been thinking actually. You could do like kind of like an album just with all the unreleased songs, but like just like exactly just like that. Also, Joelle is waiting for your Christmas EP. Also, hi, Joelle.
I have promised Joelle a Christmas EP. Joelle, I have just finished writing a new Christmas song with Courtney Visser.
Yes, that's true.
As part of the Christmas collab-a-majig. And there will be an album playthrough featuring all of the other duets on the 6th of December on Call Sign Scarecrow's Twitch channel.
That's so good.
And Joelle, I can almost guarantee that you will like this song. And I
Yay. 6th of December, that's in what, 2 weeks, I think?
Yes. So Just Shabs has a song on there as well. And lots of other names that you will recognize. I was so lucky to be paired with Courtney because she's fantastic.
She is.
She
Yeah.
really cared about the songwriting process as much as I did. Like every detail, every syllable, every chord choice was like examined like a scientist, and I was like, this is cool. I love that.
That's so cool. And yeah, I'm same question for Ocean's Emotions. Do you have any personal favorites from that album? Because I have some favorites, as you may know. But do you have? What are your favorites?
My favorites, oh gosh, I think it changes all the time. It's so hard to pick.
There are a lot of great ones in that album.
It's been so cool to see how much people love Run for Your Life.
Yeah.
Because that's a really old song.
Okay.
I wrote that when I was a teenager. And I had convinced myself that it was not a good song.
Okay.
Because I didn't like some of the lyrics anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought I Seek Comfort in My Mind sounded clunky. And I hated the first line. And I just convinced myself that no one's going to like this song.
Yeah.
And then I can't even remember what happened, but one day I played it on stream because I think I liked the piano part. I liked the and I was like, oh, this sounds kind of cool, but I just didn't like the lyrics. But I played it and people just loved it. And I've fallen in love with the song all over again.
Yeah.
And I kind of look at my teenage self and go, you wrote that? Oh my God. Like I was just like stuck in my bedroom instead of making friends. I was just in my bedroom, just like so dramatic. And you're just
running. You were just running.
Now it actually has like an audience of people wanting to hear it again. That blew my mind, and that's the thing about Twitch. That it blew my mind that people wanted to hear my originals more than once. Because I had gone for so many years of feeling like no one was interested.
Yeah.
It really took some time to adjust to like, you're not just doing this to pity me, right? You're not just requesting this song again because you feel so you genuinely like the song. Are you sure? And it took me a while to relax into that. And then when I got it, I was like, oh, maybe Run for Your Life isn't a bad song. And I kind of heard it again.
Yeah. The piano is what makes it stand out, I think. The melody. It has a very unique like piano. Yeah. But I don't know if it's a type 4 thing to be like, I'm not sure if people are gonna like it and being surprised, because I've definitely felt that too.
I'm updating my lyrics all the time. So in stream the other day, I was singing "Weightless," which is the last song of the album.
Yeah.
Again, I wrote that when I was a teenager, and I have always hated how I used the word negative. The lyric was I don't like your negative reaction. Like, okay, part of it is just like, I'm being a teenager. Like, I don't like what you're saying to me. But the other part was just that the word negative was just like, could you not have chosen a better word?
Yeah.
For some reason over the years, I never thought I would go back and revisit it. But then I put it on the album. And then the other day I was singing, and I said in the stream, I was like, oh, I know what the word should be. And I changed it to cynical. I don't like your cynical reaction. And I really wish I'd recorded it like that. And then there's the other one that in the bridge, every time I sing it live now, I change it to let me feel weightless once again. Let all these memories wash away with the tide.
Still time.
Because the tide links in with the ocean, and it was the last song on the Ocean Emotions album. And I was kicking myself because I realized this the day after I had uploaded it to DistroKid.
You can do like a re-recording of like, okay, this is a version 2. This is the alt version.
Yeah. In 10 years' time, there'll be the updated version.
Exactly. You do like a re-recording, and then there you go.
But I would say that Run for Your Life is a favorite, and I also I have a huge soft spot for Breathe Under the Water.
Yes.
Because that was supposed to be for somebody else.
Oh, really?
I wrote that song for another artist.
So Fly Stuck to Web, see you soon. And Alice, bye.
Thanks so much for listening. Take care. That song was supposed to be for someone else, and it's what's really weird is that, you know what we were talking about earlier, like there's writing for yourself, and there's really writing and trying to consider other people and what they might be interested in.
Yeah.
So when I wrote Breathe Under the Water, my mindset was very much what's going to be. This is a long story, right? It goes somewhere different, but how it started was what's going to be cool. What's going to be catchy? What's this artist? What's going to be a really successful song for this singer to do?
Okay.
And I wasn't in a tell my own story.
Okay.
I wasn't in a this song needs to be emotional place.
Yeah.
I started getting the melody and the chords, and I was singing rubbish into my phone, like lyrics that were nonsensical and didn't make sense. Because all I cared about was the melody and wanting it to be catchy and wanting it to be successful. I had this like vision. It's like, stop being emotional. Just write a successful song. But I couldn't help myself. There's no way that I can just write a song and not care about it. And naturally, as I was digging away trying to find the right words, I was like, oh my God, I'm writing about myself again.
Oh no, another one. Oh no.
And in my nonsensical words, I came up with this phrase, breathe under the water. And at first I was like, that doesn't even make sense. What is this? But
Chris,
it's like the song revealed itself to me. It's so weird.
You know what? It's funny because so I wrote my first original called "Keep Dreaming," but I had the same experience where, like, the song came to me. Like, I wrote the song first, and then it came to me in my sleep. Like, I was like, "Oh my God, that's the song."
Well, I've always heard that Paul McCartney wrote the song yesterday. In his sleep, he had a dream and he woke up with the chords and the melody, but he didn't have the lyrics, and it was something to do with eggs and bacon, apparently. Something they're just naturally whatever.
Also, Mr. Bale, hello, Mr. Bale. Chris asked, could the other artist not breathe under the water?
She could not.
And he was also asking you if you can actually breathe under the water. It was his question the other day.
Metaphorically, I can. I'm more resilient now. Literally, no, and I don't recommend it.
Yes, I do not, unless you have scuba diving gear with you, and that is yes.
Little known fact: breathe under the water is about scuba diving, not about at all.
There you go. Exactly. I mean, you can take it multiple ways. You know, Letty can actually breathe under the water. I could breathe under the water. Because I do scuba diving, that's why.
You've always been a big supporter of Breathe Under the Water.
That's you know it's funny because that song, when I heard that song, the reason why I felt instantly connected to it is because I was going through something in my life during that time where I actually felt like I was like drowning, and so that song. Like really, so because I listened to a lot of Avril. She has a song called Head Above Water, but
just to say that I wrote Breathe Under the Water before, and I know it doesn't seem like it because my album came out afterwards.
It was funny.
I have the phone voice memo to prove that Breathe Under the Water was written before Head Above Water came out, and I was just as freaked out when she had this song about Head Above Water. I was like, are we connected? What's going on?
But in my mind, I was like, it makes sense. I mean, he loves Avril. It makes sense, right? I was like, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. But like, that song is so good because I connected personally to it because it directly was about something I was going through personally. But also, the thing that I love about that song is the outro that you changed. That's the great thing because so I've been into I don't know if you know this, but I went to I was going through a huge healing journey for 2 years, healing traumas and stuff like that, and I have a lot of those, but and the last part is the best bit because it's like yes, I'm bringing I'm going to breathe under the water, right? But in the end, it's like people didn't believe. No one believed in me, but I believe in myself. It's basically self-empowerment in a way, right?
I
and
bet you
it's
didn't
like
think that I had a chance to say my
and it's
yeah.
like no one no one saw me and the
Mm,
potential and who I was,
yes,
but
yeah.
because I believed in myself, I knew that I was able to survive and get past whatever it was, and that is why that song is particularly
Hmm.
special to me, and it's a big part of my life. So
That's so nice. I've I've,
yeah,
I've heard
um,
Nat, who is a fly
yeah.
star to a web, said
Okay,
something quite similar, that she really likes that last part of the song. That's really like that resilient
it's
feeling,
great.
and
Um,
that feeling. Yeah, that my, what you just said reminds me of the
yeah,
song "You Think You Know Me" as well, because it's like
yeah,
you think you have this idea of what I am, but you
yeah,
haven't actually seen the best of me yet. Yeah, come on.
yeah. Exactly, exactly.
So I'm sorry if
But
I'm looking rude. I'm looking down.
yeah,
I'm trying
it's
to
okay.
find the original demo of Breathe Under the
Oh
Water
my
from
god, that'd be so fun.
2018. I'm
Actually,
trying to find it because I sent
that'd
it
be
in an
so fun.
email to the artist that I wanted to sing it
Okay.
originally, because I had sort of given up on the idea of being an artist. Um,
Don't do that again, please. Okay.
Crazy, isn't it?
You know how Taylor Swift in her song says how Charlie Puth should be a bigger artist? I think Gary Lucas should be a bigger artist, you know?
Aw.
Like, yeah. Yeah, and that says those last lyrics to your song, Gary, really resonate with me. And, that's also
Aw.
why so I don't know if you remember this, I think it was a long time ago, but I did a mashup with that song with Clean by Taylor
Taylor
Swift.
Swift, yeah.
That's also part of the reason why these two songs mesh so well together, is because Clean is about like getting rid of the past and being able to survive and from the past, and Breathe Out in the Water brings in this feeling of I can breathe now, even under the chaos and everything I can breathe. And at the ending it goes like because I believed in me, and that's
Mm.
that it makes it such a nice mashup.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for covering my song. Mystifying, the recording that is on Spotify and everything, that's not me singing it. It's featuring a different artist. Because
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
time I was going through this phase of being like, I shouldn't be an artist. I'm going to write for other people.
Okay.
And don't get me
Yeah.
oh my God, I would love to write for other people. That's still a huge dream of mine. I would love to do that. But
We can make that happen.
Twitch has
Yes.
definitely like helped boost my confidence, and like there's room for me to be an artist.
Yeah.
But I at the time when I did Mystifying, I decided to work with a different singer,
Yeah.
and I really liked his voice. He's called his name is Ryan C. It's not his
Yeah.
real name actually.
Okay.
So, fun fact for you.
Okay.
But he has a great voice, and I just decided I wanted to see what it would be like if someone else
Yeah.
sang one of my songs. And when I was producing it, because I produce my songs, it's like
Yeah.
it's a very difficult process to mix your own voice.
Yeah, that's true.
I found it
That's
much
true.
easier to mix someone else's voice because you don't have any of those sorts of thoughts about your own voice, where you might subconsciously be making it quieter where it shouldn't be because you're thinking,
Yeah.
I don't like how that bit sounds.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I remember when I worked on Not Like This with Adam, he had sent me this vocal and he was like, oh yeah, I'm going to redo that bit because I don't like it. And I was like, I said it's already
Yeah.
perfect. And he was
Yeah.
hearing all these imperfections in his voice, but those imperfections
That's
were the things
true.
that I thought made that vocal performance. And I was like, I don't want you
That's
to sing
true.
this phrase again. It's already great. And if he was producing his own
Yeah.
voice, he might have toned that down or replaced it with something that sounded
Yeah, that's true.
thinner.
Yeah.
So it's Mystifying was a fun one to do because I had someone else's voice.
Yeah, that's a fun song. Yeah, that is a fun song.
It
Now it
is.
says, Gary, can you record a music with Andrew in the house, or do you need absolute space and silence?
So there are examples of both. If he's in the house and he's sort of flitting around, I can be in the process of making parts of the production. Maybe if it was something to do with the music or the early part of the track where I'm just kind of mapping it out. But if I'm doing something serious like this could be the final vocal take, then I go and say to him, you either have to be completely silent,
Yeah.
or I will scream. But he's very good. He's very good with that.
Have you ever thought of making Andrew like a kind of like a backing vocals or something, like a a little Andrew cameo in a song? That would be fun.
Well, I might be sharing something of Andrew on Saturday.
Oh,
he's
yes.
actually recorded something with me years ago when I first met him.
That's fun.
We made a song together.
That's so cute.
No, it's not a cute song. It's a silly song. Did you ever hear a song on the radio in 2015, which is the year that I met Andrew? We took a trip to Belgium together.
Okay.
And on the radio, they were doing a countdown of the top 5 songs on this particular radio station in Belgium.
Okay.
Oh, let's find out what the top 5 songs in Belgium are.
Okay.
And the song that was in first when am I allowed to swear on your channel?
Yeah.
You do swearing, okay.
Yes. Not often, but yeah, I do.
But fuck that mouse, cause I'm an albatross.
Oh my god, I remember that song. Oh my god, that song.
And so we turned to each other and we said, if this is number 1 in Belgium, we need to make a rival. So we made a rival to that song.
That's amazing.
And I might play it on Saturday.
Oh, it's exciting. If
Andrew allows me.
I love it. Guys, really Saturday, Gary is doing his 4-year anniversary stream. At what time?
It'll be 7 p.m. GMT.
7 p.m. GMT. So like today's stream.
Happening now, yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
So guys, if you're not following Gary yet, you need to go do that right now. And Saturday is a special day. So that's a lot of fun though.
As well. That's amazing.
That's a lot of fun. Oh my god, that Albatross song, I haven't heard it in so long.
It was of its time.
I remember
I have a feeling that
song.
the song I made with Andrew is of its time as well.
Oh my god, that would be so nice. That's
also
so
my production skills were not quite as skillful as they are now, so there's a lot to be desired.
It's okay.
But it's a very silly. I'll go with Tempsy, a silly, cute dance song.
I love that. Yay. No, but yeah, he should totally in the future be like cameos in songs. That'd be so fun. I think that would be fun. And yeah, so how did you your journey on Twitch start? Because you were already a musician before Twitch. You already had albums. How did that came about to start streaming? Was it also because of the pandemic or?
So I had a YouTube page.
Okay.
And I decided a couple of times in 2020 during the pandemic, like the first lockdown, I decided to try live streaming on YouTube.
Okay.
Now, I had tried live streaming maybe 2 years before that on something called Concert Window. Don't know if anyone remembers this website, Concert Window. Yeah. It's kind of similar concept to Twitch, but I don't think it got very much exposure.
Yeah.
But the idea very similar. There was a chat and you played songs. But what I remember from that was that the audio quality was just rubbish. Like you can't listen to stuff that sounds distorted and sounds all like compressed and like it's been modified by internet artifacts all the time. So it wasn't a great experience. And I remember thinking that live streaming was probably still like that.
Yeah.
I saw that YouTube had a live stream function. I was like, oh, what's the harm? I've got nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Lockdowns. So I tried live streaming on YouTube and I realized that I had bought a mixer on eBay for £40 so that I do gigs.
Yeah.
And I suddenly realized, oh, I wonder if that would make my audio quality better if I literally went through that and then plugged that in USB to the computer. And I couldn't believe that the audio was good.
Yeah.
And as soon as I realized it was good, I was like, why haven't I been doing this? Like, I've genuinely dreamed of these moments. Like, so you're right in that I had stuff on Spotify, but I would be lying if I said that I was like a working musician of any
Yeah.
kind. I would release songs, nobody would listen to them.
Oh.
And all that would happen is I would sit in my house and I would do a Twitch stream to myself. I would just sit there for 3-4 hours playing songs and no one was hearing them at all.
Oh.
But I would do that genuinely just because I enjoyed it. And so I did a YouTube live stream and like maybe 3 people would watch. But one of those people was Creative Jackalope.
That's so fun.
My first mod, and who created all of the penny emotes. And Creative Jackalope knew about Twitch and streamed art streams on Twitch.
That's fun. Okay.
And he said to me on a YouTube live stream, have you ever considered streaming on Twitch before? And I had never even heard the word.
Okay. Yeah.
Twitch.
Yeah.
So I sort of logged it in the back of my brain. I thought maybe I'll do that.
Yeah.
Then a few months later, still in lockdown, the same artist that I was originally writing Breathe Under the Water for was doing online songwriting sessions, and they got me involved. And her producer at the time decided to try to get some interest in this artist's career by streaming the production sessions online.
Okay.
Live streams of the production. So we would be on a Zoom call like this.
Yeah.
One of the windows would be the production, and then we would all be in the corner like writing a song together.
Yeah.
And he streamed it on Twitch. And I was like, I feel like somebody's told me about this thing, Twitch. And I would get the chat up on my phone, but it wasn't a very successful stream. But I remember just being curious about, oh my God, we're actually live. Like people could be watching this right now. That's weird. And then
I like that it wasn't a very successful stream.
No, it wasn't.
No, but,
there was hardly anybody watching.
Yeah.
But then I think Creative Jackalope mentioned Twitch to me again, and I was like, hold on, I've just been on Twitch. Like, and the person I was writing Breathe Under the Water for, she knows me quite well, and she said to me, Gary, did you know that as well as these production streams, some musicians just go on Twitch and just do cover songs and stuff? And
that's so cool.
Her exact words to me are, "You've got a brain like a jukebox. You should do that."
That should be on a T-shirt. That should be a quote, actually. If there's a Temsy, that should be a quote, by the way. Gary has a brain like a jukebox. There you go.
And so because 2 people had told me to do it, Creative Jackalope and this artist, I said to myself, do you know what? I should go check this out. 2 people have now told me. So I set up my Twitch. I watched a couple of people. I remember watching somebody called Jordan Lindsay, who doesn't stream anymore, but he was a UK-based streamer.
Okay.
And he was telling me about like how to set up OBS and stuff. And then I was watching the YouTube tutorials, yada yada. And I did a couple of test streams to 0 viewers.
Yeah.
And then my 3rd stream was I called it my first official stream. It's like, okay, this isn't a test anymore. I'm going. This is me. I'm on.
Yeah.
And I was playing to 0 viewers for about 20 minutes, half an hour. And then I got raided by someone with 50 viewers.
That's amazing.
And there's a clip of this, and I might show it again on Saturday.
Yeah.
Of me going a bit sort of wide-eyed. Like I was halfway through a Radiohead song. I was halfway through Plastic Trees, trying to keep it together, suddenly realizing.
Was that when Chris came in, joined, or?
He wasn't there at the time. Can you believe there was a time before Chris Swan?
It's difficult to imagine that time.
So I was very lucky in that my first proper stream, I got raided.
That's amazing.
Zion was there, who became like my main 2 mods for my first year of Twitch. Creative Jackalope, Zion, Drama Queen. I'm trying to talk too fast.
The Dark Ages.
The Dark. And they were both incredible in helping me set up Discord and telling me about emotes and how it all works.
Okay.
I was very lucky with the people that I met.
That's amazing. But it's amazing you got through Twitch through music, because I discovered it through gaming, because I knew people who were gaming on it, and I was like, I had nothing to, I mean, same as you on the pandemic, I was like, oh, that could be fun to try. I mean, I had nothing else to do, so I was like, I literally started on my MacBook Pro.
Right.
I didn't have any, like, I didn't have a PC 4 years ago.
I'm still
And,
using my MacBook Pro.
Yeah.
It's all
I think for music it's fine, but I think for gaming it was a little hard.
Yes.
I remember I was like using like a OBS link to my Switch, because I could only stream Switch games, because you know, I mean, there's not a lot of Mac games, and it was a whole thing. But yeah, it's so fun, and so like from there, I mean, I suppose your channel grew.
Yeah, I
fast.
think what's really interesting is that I remember always feeling this like slight bit of regret that I didn't
Yeah.
start earlier, because I felt like there was a wave of streamers who like really capitalized on that first lockdown and realizing that
that's
everyone was
true.
flooding to Twitch, and there was a few bunch of streamers that I sort of missed
Until their
out
PC crashed. It did not crash.
on. And I sort of tried getting to know them, but I felt a bit on the outside because they had already formed their sort of cliques and they were doing really well. But it was kind of great because I was able to look up to them and be like, oh, that's what's capable of happening. That's so cool. But I would say even in comparison to now, for example, if you start as a new streamer, even in the last year or two, it's different from what it was back then.
That's true.
Even though I was I would say, it sounds like the second wave of COVID.
That's true.
What I think of as the second wave.
I mean, it was kind of the second
There was still a
pandemic.
wave, you know. You picked up followers much more quickly in those days.
Yeah.
These days, like getting followers, like feels painfully slow. Seashell Wizard is so optimistic when she said, "Oh, you're so close to 5K." I'm like, "I'll see you in 6 months' time, Seashell." She's like, "Surely it's like 3 weeks away, right?" I'm like, "Maybe back in 2020 we would have been."
Yeah.
But not anymore.
Yeah, like the pandemic, like, so like even though I started during the pandemic, I definitely would consider myself as, you know, because like before I was mainly doing games, and I was not really like promoting my channel much. It was mainly, you know, among friends and stuff. So I did not really take part in that wave. I was not really part of that wave, but like, so, you know, it's only since January actually of this year when I started actually playing guitar on stream. Where so I joined the music because I didn't even know Twitch had a music. So it's funny because before I didn't know Twitch had music before. I was so the first musician I started to follow. So I followed this huge French streamer who does karaoke streams every Sunday called Little Big Whale, and that's the only person I knew who did like kind of music. But like, and you know Sarah Copona, right? She's a pianist, huge pianist from France.
Yeah.
And she actually participated in a French like Twitch, or like so one of the Twitch bigger streamers, French streamers, organized this festival in France, and she was one of the people who played in a concert in the concert section, and that's how I discovered her, and that's how I discovered there was a whole music section on Twitch I did not know about, and then I discovered Rob, because she rated Rob, and that's how, you know, I got basically introduced to the music you know, community in I think it was around like March or May 2023, I think. Wow, around there.
Yeah, it's a lot later than.
Yeah, and so basically, it's and for me, so since I started playing guitar, I was doing some karaoke here and there, but it was more like, you know, for fun, and like it was kind of also like a music therapy kind of thing, because for me, you know, it's a therapy to sing. Yeah. And it's only when I started like playing guitar and streaming that, you know, I mean, I'm where I am now. So I'm definitely part of the second, like, get the other part. But it's like I think I've been talking about it in the first episode, but Twitch has definitely helped like grow. Like, you know, not just me, but every like streamer I've seen like this past year have grown so much because of Twitch, you know, especially like creatives, like musicians. A lot of musicians got to like do and make music because of Twitch, and so that's amazing. That's a great thing. I don't know if you had that feeling too, but that's the feeling I've got.
It definitely, there is a brand new approach to music that I did not have before Twitch,
Yeah.
which is where I can sort of take it seriously. Like if I ever tried taking music seriously in the past, it
Yeah.
felt so like, am I deluded? Am I
Yeah.
delusional to think that I should be taking this seriously?
Yeah.
Whereas Twitch allowed me to feel that it was okay to take it seriously.
Yeah.
And that changed a lot for me. Absolutely. Simply being able to play my original song somewhere was a complete game changer. And then
Yeah.
also, I loved the idea that I could create a song list full of songs that I love.
Yeah.
And if someone
That's
requests
true.
them, like they're meeting me where I am. I'm not having to change who I am to meet them, which is
Yeah.
kind of what pub gigs in England felt
Yeah, that's
to me.
true. Yeah.
And it's not that pub gigs are bad. Some people are really good at being that
Yes.
sort of chameleon
Yeah.
person, and I'm just
Yeah.
not. Um,
Yeah.
so the fact that I could put
Yeah.
album tracks and deep cuts and originals on a song
Yeah.
list, and people would come request them, like, just really satisfied me. It was really fun.
But also building, like having a community. I mean, like, Seashell, Citrus, Tamsin, you've built like a great community that, like, love what you do, love what you do, and, like, support you. And I think that is a big changer, like a game changer also. Especially, I think, as we are type 4s. We tend to have a lot of self-doubts, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And having such a community that, like, is so supportive and is always there, and help us, motivate us to push ourselves. That also helps a lot. Because for me, for example, I've been building a community myself, and, like, I think that 2 years ago, I would have never picked up a guitar and played in front of people. And, like, I would have never, like, I've written a song. I would have never done that, like, 2 years ago, if it were not for Twitch.
That's great.
In the community. And I feel like it's like I've seen it like like a similar thing for a lot of musicians. I mean, yourself, but I think also, like, I'm thinking also, like, for example, Mia Raymer, or, like, even Amadeus Music. He is becoming a full-time musician now, and it's thanks to Twitch, because he's able to, with all the support he's gotten, and Twitch, he's been able to get to this point where he can actually do this switch. But I'm thinking of so many people are starting to write music or push themselves to do things. I mean, Chris literally sang on stage 2 songs. Right? And he stayed when I sing. He was there when I sang Ed Sheeran songs, and so Twitch definitely pushes you, helps push you. Yeah. Oh no! We all
Pushing
saw that.
Chris into experiencing Ed Sheeran songs.
I mean, he literally stood there and listened. So that's a huge
Proud of you, Chris.
Yeah, a great moment there. No, but yeah, it's a great thing. Like this Twitch community. And yeah.
Absolutely. No, it's the motivation and the momentum.
Yeah.
I think, it's coming up to streaming for 4 years on Twitch. It's I think INFPs especially will have moments of being really creative and then moments of completely dropping off.
Yeah.
Whereas something about having a schedule, like I stream on Mondays and I stream on Wednesdays, is
Definitely.
like, it provides some structure to the creativity, which we don't normally have, especially because we're unsigned independent artists.
Yes.
So Avril Lavigne might be a bit flighty like me, but
Yeah.
she has a manager saying, you've got to go appear on SNL next weekend. Are you
That's
rehearsing that
true.
song? She's being
That's
given
true.
a structure by someone else. This manager's
That's
saying, okay, so
true.
you're in tour in Japan next week.
Yeah.
Then we've booked you the flight for here. And she's like, okay. Someone is telling me what to do.
Yeah.
We don't have that. So we
true.
create the structure ourselves, but Twitch and the way that there are already so many kind of things built into Twitch
Yeah.
that we can observe working for other people. So we go, okay, I can do that as well. And that gives me some structure. And
Yeah.
that really helps to channel whatever creativity we do have, so it's not just aimlessly flying off,
Yeah, for
staying
sure.
within these four walls.
For sure. I mean, for me, like that's also like the reason why I started doing guitar and now piano on stream, is because it gives me like a kind of like a regular schedule for practicing it. Otherwise, like, you know, as you said, like I would like just be like I would practice something for like 2 weeks, and then I could not touch it for like 3 months and then go back to it.
Yeah.
So it like it gives like a nice like you know, a regular practice and structure. And,
absolutely, yeah.
but it's so interesting that it seems to be like a type 4 thing, because, you know, it's like I've been like that, like, yeah, my entire life. So
it's probably not limited to. There probably are some other types that that really benefit from the structure that they wouldn't normally have, but with the thing that is unique to the fours is being emotional about it. Like,
yeah, that's true.
I would feel really emotional about how aimless I was.
Yes.
And I'd really feel like, oh my God, I'm wasting my whole life. Like, no one's going to get to hear this. I'm so depressed. I'm just going to give up now. So that, I think, is what makes it really for it. And so then that feeling disappearing, like, what? I don't feel like that anymore. That's the shift.
But it's nice to hear that, you know, you're not alone experiencing that. That's something for sure. Tempty says, in my experience, the 9s benefit too. Okay.
The type 9s on the Enneagram, they can definitely not have very much structure that's pushing them out to do things. They can have a structure that's keeping them safe, but not challenging themselves. But instead of sort of being really, really emotional about it in the way the 4s would, they almost are quite happy with, okay, I'm really happy that I don't have to do anything. I'm just gonna stay here in my little box.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that they don't start enjoying it once they do start taking risks.
Exactly.
That the structure of Twitch might push them into. So yeah, there's different types that benefit from the structure. Absolutely, yeah.
If I don't make time for music, I give myself to my day job. Yeah, that's also a thing. Like, not a lot of people can you know, have the opportunity to switch to like a full-time. I mean, yourself, you are juggling multiple things as well, right?
It's the only way I can make it work.
Yeah, it's difficult, but, you know, not.
There was a time, like during the early periods of Twitch, where it felt busier a couple of years ago, and I was able to really think, oh my goodness, I can earn enough money for this to feel like it's half my job.
Yeah.
Whereas now it feels a bit more like a quarter of what my income is.
Yeah.
And I have to top it up with English tutoring, music tutoring, occasional gigs.
Yeah.
To fill it out. But it's, you know, I didn't even know it was possible.
Yeah.
Like, before I even discovered Twitch, like, I didn't even know it was possible to just play songs with good audio and have people be interested.
Yeah.
Like, that alone, outside of money, I would have said yes to. So then the fact that it can account for a quarter of my income is still mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
So very cool.
Yeah, Twitch has definitely opened a lot of doors and possibilities for a lot of people, musicians, for sure. Nat says, I'm trying to give less to my day job because it doesn't give me meaning, but my job gives me structure, something to wake up for. Yeah. It's a difficult. I think it's like a difficult thing to kind of like have a balance and choose from. It's like either you want to be you know, happy, or you find a balance and like within both. And COVID did change a lot. I mean, like especially like COVID did bring a lot of people to the internet. And also, COVID also opened the door to distance, like I mean Twitch, but like distance. Like artists are also made like music, you know, at a distance from each other. You made a collab with a collab, but I don't know if you guys met in person, but you can now collab with people at a distance. You can make music, you don't have to be in the same room as other people.
Yeah.
And I think that definitely opens a lot of possibilities for sure.
Yeah.
And that's where I think platforms like Twitch come in and are like a great tool, because it gives that, a more like structure and a place to do that.
Yeah, when I think I've collaborated with a lot of people in the last 4 years, way more than I collaborated with anyone in the previous 4 years. And so I think that's been amazing, because music for me was such a solitary experience.
Yeah.
I did try to play with other people, and I tried to join things sometimes. But even doing a gig, even though there might be a pub full of people, I still felt very isolated.
Yeah.
And I would often come back to being in a room like this, working on my own songs, not knowing if anyone was interested, but spending hours doing them. So it was a very isolating experience. And Twitch feels very communal. So it's the complete opposite.
That's true.
And
that's very true.
Collaborating with people has been great, because I think I sort of had a fear about it before, like who would want to work with me?
Yeah.
And that first one that I did with Adam of Not Like This was such a great experience, that it made me go, do you know, I could do that again, and it's not scary. It could lead to something good.
That's nice.
Oh, they can't see Penny because
they can't see Penny.
I realized that in my camera view, I can see Penny, but I'm forgetting that I'm cut off for the.
That's true. I'll fix the other view so we can zoom in more. Yeah. If you put her on the radiator, would that help?
I don't know if there's enough.
Oh yeah.
I have to really.
Yeah, she might fall off.
There's a proper dangerous.
Sorry, Penny.
I'm hurting her.
No.
I don't think she'll fit.
Yeah, or maybe you can put it like a little bit behind. I don't know if is that a stool? You have is that a bench, right?
There's this.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. You're gonna see her head, a bit of her head. There you go.
I'll be back in a second.
Yeah, guys, I'm gonna take a couple-minute break. Maybe like 2 or 3 minutes to go to the bathroom, get some water. Guys, also go get a snack, water, stretch. We're back in 2 minutes, and also we'll be doing some Q&A with Gary. If you have not, if you would like to ask Gary a question, you can submit it here. And then, see you in 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, a couple minutes. Thanks for being here also, by the way. And for those who's been here the whole time, thank you so much. See you in a couple minutes. I'm going to play you Gary's originals during the break. And yeah, see you.